Good day, my dear ones. It is always, always, always a pleasure to spend time with you and working through your cases. There's always fun. Cases are always fun because we learn so much about the human body with each case, and a little bit more here and a little bit more there. How to improve detoxification. I mean, you're all involved in this whole process of now better research, regeneration at a level not seen before. So a lot of you are really involved right in this whole tremendous energetic move on this planet to lift it up in its awareness. So I'm so thankful to help and to serve with you guys. It's a lot of fun. I've always thought this was fun. This is some of the places we send packages to. Yeah, these are some of the places we send things to. Pretty cool. Anyway, Jiminy Christmas, there's a Max here. 60 days grape juice fast. 60 days. And this is some of the stuff that he got out. And this is mucoid plaque. So when you think your body doesn't have sewage built up in it from years of taking foods and metabolizing and breaking them down, and all the chemical residues formed from all these processes throughout the body, and it would be a tremendous mistake as it is to exclude the understanding that we must remove these byproducts from cellular activities. So cellular waste is a huge deal, not considered by the AMA very much, and very, very important, as this is the problem, not removing of cellular and parasitic waste within the human body. We focus a lot on digestive waste, which is the gut, or the GI tract, gastrointestinal tract, but no really much dealing with the lymphatic, of course, and cellular waste. Grave, grave, grave mistake to the humans on the planet, because it has been to their demise in a lot of cases, that they have chosen modalities that don't understand this. So again, when you treat things you don't understand, you have a tendency to kill people at a rate very unacceptable, but they've dumbed down humans to where humans will accept the fact that this pharmaceutical they're taking has a high potential to kill them. But it's okay because you need it. And this is the kind of dumbed down that we're in. We've got this haze across our mind because of all the dairy products and the crap that they're out there promoting us to eat. And all this serves as big business. That's it. And so, sad part is, once you get going in business like that and it's wrong, what do? So this is a serious problem. The Dairymen's Association, that in particular, when it deals with the milks, you can squeak by with some dead tissue here and there, but the dairy products are just huge no-no. They get you every time. So it's just, we have to stop them. So whatever that means, we've gotten a few Amish dairy farmers to stop dairy farming, but anybody that wants a dairy farm, I can't imagine that. Dairy farming, to me, is probably the worst type of farming you could ever ask for. It's dirty, it's nasty, you have to have milk cows morning and night. You have no freedom. My sister had some milk cows for a while after my grandfather said, no, but she didn't listen. It only took her about a year. And that was it. Because you can't, and it's when you realize how bad it is for the human being, why would we do that? But, this is the big business and stuff. So, my God, my man, you kicked royal butt, Max. But that's, that's how you do it. I have to tell you, when you get this plaque and stuff out of you, now your bowels can breathe. Now you can absorb some. But still, there's more. You get this plaque out, and then there's interstitial. I mean, it's just a mess. Some people's bodies are just crap house mess, so to speak. And you just have to go in and remove these acids and these residues that are clogging pathways of energy. You know, you could simply say that any blockage to the flow of energy causes dis-ease. And this would be factual. And the three main energy flows, of course, of the human body is blood, nerve, and lymph. So blood feeds them, nerve moves them, and lymph cleans them. It's that simple. And I mean, that is as simple as you really need. You know, one can play intellectualism as long as it doesn't destroy spirituality and common sense and awareness. When the mind destroys these things, it's on a path of self-destruction. But that's the mind. You know, that's totally the mind. And when you learn how to use your mind and not be controlled by it, the freedom you get from that is pretty good. Then you have to learn, the more you work in the now you got to learn how to use the mind from a distance, so to speak, and not get trapped in thoughts, because that takes you away from reality and seeing everything, knowing everything. Sets you up for opinions and propaganda that's not true. Sets you up for someone to condition that mind of yours the way they want it to. And that's just what's going on this planet. That's how creation functions, though. Your mind is your creation mover. This is from States Places. States Places, interesting. Switching from fruitarian diet to cooked vegetables. I have been on a strict fruitarian diet for over 6 months with no transition into the diet. I've been running into a lot of issues from detoxing too fast without ever feeling better, so I am in a constant state of fatigue and weakness and inability to manage my life. Well, let's stop right there. You know, this person brings up a good point. You know, sometimes you have to go slow into this. Now, here's the thing. I want you to always remember that, because we have this discussion about this, about those that have done proteins. Those proteins that are outside of dead animal tissue, or tissue proteins, are better, but they're still complex and still have stimulating properties. So as a rule, proteins are stimulants. Acids are stimulants. So when you see hyperactivity, you know immediately acidosis is involved in that. So you remove acidosis, you don't remove the tissue. I mean, that's how ridiculous things are in allopathic thinking. And unfortunately, right now we're involved in several cases where the kids are being killed big time with the chemos, and it's just getting these courts and people to understand just what's going on there, the slaughtering fields going on out here. You don't administer Drano to people. I don't care if you have a doctor behind your name or you have the royal family behind your name. You don't administer Drano to people. That's a crime, and it has not. We've been dumbed down to accept that, and we have to dumb up, or whatever. But you can move too fast. But here's the key: when you go on these raw food diets, you should have energy, you should have vitality, you should be jumping off the trees, but people don't. A lot of people go the other way and they go, oh my God, I have no energy at all. And that is because none of these foods are stimulants. They don't act as stimulants, they act as energetics. And we're so used to energizing our adrenals, or stimulating our adrenals through neurotransmitters found in dead animal tissues to direct protein stimulation, that when we stop these things, oftentimes, guys, it's crash and burn. It isn't the fruits. It's none of that. It's your body. It's your genetic weakness within the adrenals. But when you do this is in your face that you have adrenal weaknesses, because these foods have the more chemistry and more energy than most people are used to ever getting in a week in one meal. Matter of fact, if you looked at the energy of raw foods, most people don't ever get that kind of energy in their meals, ever. So you're plugging into a much higher vibratory frequency, a higher level of chemistry, all these things. Why do you feel more tired? And that's simple. You have to understand the gland that's involved with that. Now, you could have a double whammy. Where would be the other gland involved with chronic fatigue? The thyroid would be a real strong possibility. So you check your basal temperatures under your arms. And this is where herbs come in. Or You know, when you're young, sorry guys, but my God, you guys are in the chronic levels here. And this is why I'm doing these, because right now we're in chronic and degenerative levels of tissue. And there's way beyond allopathy. This is so far. I mean, you could play these kind of idiocy games when things were in the acute stages, but in chronic stages and degenerative stages, you're killing people at an alarming rate. And I'm not being nice about it because we can't be nice anymore. We have to wake up. Too many people are getting killed, and I've got parents crying their eyes out because their kids are being slaughtered. I mean, how do you balance that out? Like, oh, it'll be okay. It won't be okay. It won't be okay until we make it okay. Because unless we make it okay, the negative forces, the mind has no reason to change. It just gets worse and worse and worse, more controlling, more laws, more regulations. That's the mind. These people are trapped in the negative forces, and they don't realize it. They think that they don't understand what's better for everybody. That's narcissism. And governments are full of these narcissistic elitists. And they have destroyed the people's lives. And so people have to stand up worldwide and take their worlds back, and maybe give these narcissistic elitists a little vacation. Maybe a little enema or colon therapy and some raw foods, and bring everybody up to speed. But these are the two reasons. So you look at your blood pressure, my friend, both arms. Check and see that top number remembers your adrenal. See how low you are, because if you're fatigued this much, you've got low blood pressure. And if you don't, then your kidneys are up there. Look at the bottom, too, because if the bottom's higher than, let's say, 65 to 70, that'll start pushing the top up artificially. So you could be 120 over 80, which was the old medical standard, which is totally wrong. It's 120 over 60, so you'd have to take 20 points off the top. That'd get you down to 100 over 60. That's where you would be. And 100 is chronic fatigue. Anything below 100, you're just really tired. Any in the 90s, and if you're born in today's world and you have anything over 100 blood pressure, you'd be lucky. It's just because we're seriously involved in genetic adrenals and kidneys, seriously. So this is why you see all the C words, the cancers out there, what they call cancers, the destroyed tissues. We have serious lymphatic problems because no one's been talking about the lymph system. No one's been focusing on the lymph system. They've been focusing on the blood and using antibiotics, thinking that pathogens is the cause of all things, or a big cause, autoimmune and all the idiocy. I don't know what the hell I'm talking about, but we'll call it that. Those sort of things. That reminds me, she ought to put that on that letter. Let me see here. Again, that's why I use herbs and not just raw foods today. And you're seeing you're an individual that's involved in this, and why I find herbs and even glandulars, guys, for now, because nothing dies. Remember, those to help, because we are in serious. This is a good case where someone's just so chronically weak, and I've seen a lot of this. So much so that some people have to go to bed. They don't even have enough energy to go to work anymore, and it is just their body. But if you don't stop and fix this, you will eventually totally crash and burn. And that includes your autonomic nervous system. And that's serious stuff, because your adrenals this is what you're feeling in your autonomic nervous system. You can get shortness of breath, hard to take deep breaths, heart arrhythmias when you start getting down in these low levels. Throw in a thyroid, parathyroid, you can get into AFib, all kinds of stuff. And, it's just, these things are all fixable when you go in and you start cleaning and repairing and regenerating the human body. And it's not a difficult procedure. You don't need a Harvard law degree to understand how to do it. You don't need any of these. A waste of time and money. These have only proved to lock the mind deeper in unconsciousness. And therefore, it's worse, because most people don't understand anything about health. And that's problematic. Matter of fact, some of these studies are showing that we are worse now at the treatment of cancer than we've ever been. And the reason is because you can't treat something you don't understand. Because this is what's happening. You treat acid conditions with more acids that are hotter, that only leads to death. And so that in itself is such a bad philosophy that I can't believe we're so dumbed down. We're sitting back and letting our kids be destroyed like that. And it's hard to deal with it because the judges are involved in stuff, and either they don't understand, or, sometimes the medical community, there's favors done out there. And I've been enough in court to know that to get an honest judge is a rare bird, boy. To get an honest judge is a rare bird. And a judge that even cares. Rare bird. Let me see. Inability to manage my life. So now I want to go back to Arnold Ehret's methodology of transitioning up into fruitarianism over the course of several years. Nah, I wouldn't. No, I disagree with that one, man. It's not several years. No, because if you're in trouble now, you keep pushing it and you step back from regeneration, which is what you're into. If you're in serious trouble, you can't get up with that. But a good example is if you were sitting there with a tumor and you wanted to go back to this transition of a couple of years, you'll probably die first. You can't do that, and there's no reason to take that long to do that. And that's not going to help your fatigue at all. You would have to put yourself back on nuts and seeds and things like this. Well, this is going to acidify you and pull you back into symptoms you had. So you're really stuck. You really need, if you're going to kick back, I would kick back halfway, but I wouldn't kick back all the way and try it that way, because that's not going to do you any good. Start thinking about using herbs and glandulars to help yourself instead of kicking back to food that's going to weaken you again or create more acidosis in you again. You know, that you're talking about eating cooked foods, which has considerable less magnetic energy than raw foods. Remember, broccoli has about 1,200 angstroms of energy after you cook it, and in its raw state, about 9,000. That's significantly different. I don't even word significant is significant enough, you know, because it's just that. And if you think that's what you need to get your energy back up, that's false. It isn't true. So this is all, and even sugar metabolism. If you're having trouble with sugar metabolism, you have to look at those adrenal glands. You're looking at several things that can be an energetic cut, from sugar metabolism to neurotransmitters, and then kick yourself up to the thyroid. I mean, you can look at all these factors. But I would look at it a little differently, my friend, than just saying, well, you know what, I'm going to go back and take 2 years to move myself back up. You've already done quite a few fruits. Going back like that, your body might not like you for it, and you might get your butt kicked from your own body. Because when you're up there that long, you can't just say, I'm going to go back. It doesn't work that way, because your body loves to feel good. It loves, and it knows what's healthy, especially you've introduced it to things now that it knows it can have. You're going to be fighting your body for this. So bounce back shorter and smaller. Go to a salad at lunch, and then go to maybe some steamed vegetables and some green drinks at night. Or go fruit, salad, steamed vegetables, and then more fruit at night. But don't kick back more than that too much, or you could hurt yourself. You've been going 6 months as fruitarian, you got everything moving. Sometimes if you kick back too far, the shock can be serious, like one of the YouTubers that went on a 43-day water fast down in Costa Rica. Now, you can't always just do that. Remember, this individual's been on raw foods for a long time, did some fasting. But he's one of those young men that think they know it all. They're going to try it all and all this stuff, and that's okay. He's a good guy. But he got himself in trouble because he had a lot of sulfur. And as that sulfur is being pulled out on a water fast, and then you just stop it, he couldn't eat. His body wouldn't let him eat anything. He couldn't eat anything. He had to go back to teaspooning it for a little while to get his body to eat it. So I don't go into these more extended water fasts and things until you get a lot cleaner. It's just common sense and easier. But some of you guys need to go through these strict areas to help others and learn what it takes to help others, because you can't be a weak spine and get out there and be a healer, because you're going to see things that some of the saddest stuff. Yeah, I can't even tell you some of the saddest stuff. I mean, it rips at your emotions big time. And when you awake and you see the state of affairs of this planet, you see why it's being infused with spiritual people and why these spiritual giants are here helping this planet. It's just, it's sick. And the mind has just lost itself so much that it's destroying the world. And you can see that everywhere you look. Let me see. Of course, for several years, starting from avocados, cooked vegetables, and baked sweet potatoes. However, during the last 6 months, I have taken a lot of your herbs. Oh, well, that's good. And even did a 30-day grape fast. Well, that's perfect. Also, then you got to go that way. Keep working on your adrenal glands and your endocrine glands, and your energy will come up. Even if you have to use a glandular, but what you've done here is impressive. And don't stop. I mean, you can back up a little bit, but don't back up too much, because what you've done here is pretty dang good. If the average person could do what you're doing, boy, they would really get some stuff done. So you must have a real genetically weak kidney and adrenals, and this is part of the problem. Get a picture of your eyes and look at those adrenals, because I'm telling you, we see so many chronic adrenals out there. The kidneys can be nice, but the chronic adrenals or degenerative adrenals, this is another thing. We see black a lot in those areas, and it's like, oh, if you've got black in the adrenal gland area, you need a glandular, and it's going to take you a little while to get that baby up and going. So you can't be too hard on yourself doing that. I thought you did magnificent, my friend. I think what you've done is incredible. I think what you're missing is going into those glands of yours and working them up there. That's going to do you better. After all this sudden constant detox over 6 months, it will be safe to go back. Will it be safe to go back? Nope, it won't be safe to go back. I'm afraid that the cooked vegetables and avocados would be more harmful. The avocados, no. But that's how you would go back. You would go back introducing green drinks. If you've been fruit this long, you probably want to introduce yourself back to the green drink world. I don't know if I would go into cooked foods just yet. Probably going to introduce myself to the green drink world, and then add a salad here and there and see how my body deals with that. If you're all okay, then go ahead and go full bore with that. And then pick up some steamed vegetables on the side of a salad or something, or on the side of some guacamole or something like that. You could do that. But I think you're going to find you've done some great work here. Don't kid yourself. And you're going to, I hope you took a picture of your eyes before you started this, because when you do it at this level, guys, like this person is, they're going to have eye changes, because you can't help with that. When you do it at this level, you can't help but get in there and move things. The problem is you can be this good and have chronic adrenals, not even tripping up the kidneys. He can be this good and not filter. And it's not that it's off or not, but it is slow way home when you're not filtering. That's just what we all see. You guys are seeing it. I'm seeing it. I've seen it for years. So we know that's what's up. But the magic of getting it done might be another problem. So I think you're doing damn good myself. How you choose to go back, I'd go back slowly. Let me see here. Vegetables would be more harmful as they would if I did aggressive cleaning. Yeah, I think just what we said here. Now, your answer doesn't have to be extensive. I do understand you're a very busy person. Well, this is Joe. Joe, and I want you all to remember, what's good for one is good for all. So each one of these cases are good. And matter of fact, going over these cases will only train you guys to be great healers. This planet, as you see, has very few great healers. Now that you guys are here and you're learning and you're working with others, oh my God, the news out there is incredible. And the people that are finally getting their happiness and their joy back, you got to feel good about that. You guys are helping to make the world feel good again. That you can't ask for much better. So that's pretty good stuff. Y'all are special, special beings. I love you all. Dear Dr. Morse, I would like to thank you for your wise words. Thanks, my friend. I've been watching your videos for the last couple of months, and I find them, thanks. I read the Miracle Detox source book. Thanks, man. Actually, one of your videos has put me over the edge, and made me to change my diet and make that first step towards a better health. Oh, good deal, good deal. Well, you know what? Our minds can block our ability to change like that. It's just a mind. Once you get control of that mind, and you can change whatever you want. Just like that young man, I did a 30-day grape fast. That's pretty good. So you guys are doing it. Now, it all isn't perfect out there. You've got weaknesses within the body, and the younger you are, the more weaknesses you have. It's a sad thing, but it's genetics. And this is why you're so important, because you know the trick to regenerate genetic weaknesses. And that's the key. That is the big key, is regeneration of genetic weaknesses. Sure, the lymph is a big deal. Absolutely. Sure, all these tissues are big deals. But we have to also consider the morphology of the cell and where its state is currently in the human race, and it's not good. I mean, there's some out there with great genes, great constitutions, and if we can preserve those through getting those genes, maintaining the health of those great genes, then the condition of the human cells are going to change and come back up to those higher levels that those of you have. Okay, I have been searching for solutions for some time now, as I'm not exactly a healthy individual. I have had psoriasis since I was 19. Okay, so you know immediately when you have psoriasis, all you have to go is, oh, lymph. That was easy. Oh, this is the wrong one.
No! No! No!
I got another one that says, that's easy. And it's been only getting worse, and my health has been in decline ever since I am 28 years old. Well, when you have psoriasis, you have an extreme state of acidosis and toxemia. You know, I was telling you about the young man one time, and I'll never forget this one because it's so gross, that pus would come out of his chest like whipping cream. That's how toxic and how shut down the kidneys were, and everything was fed subcutaneously to the skin. And this is part of how the body tries to find an opening. Notice that? If you work with enough people, you'll notice that tumors, everything tries to find an opening to get out. When you open the body up with black salve, that can be a port for months, if not a year. I had a nun that for a year her breast was open, and every once in a while she'd pop a tumor out of it. But her kidneys, it took a while to get her kidneys to regenerate. And if you can't filter there, it's going to find another opening or make one if you're too aggressive. So it's interesting to watch how the body works when it needs to get well and what it'll do to itself to get well or attempt it to get well out of the chemistry that it has and out of the chemistry you're feeding it. When you change that chemistry, when you bring that chemistry into balance with nature, and you start feeding it electrical chemistry from nature, it changes your whole world inside your body. I mean, literally your whole world. Doesn't mean you have to always be a fruitarian or all raw or things like that, but it does mean you have to visit that place for a while to get well, then step back. But visit that place you must, because if you don't, it's just no one's getting well that don't. Then you can look around and see that. So it's just returning back to the diet your body is designed to eat. That simple. We have been eating outside of that. We've been eating like billy goats instead of monkeys, if you want to put it that way. Even though we're not primates, we're Homo sapiens, we're designed very close. We're frugivores. And if you looked at from a magnetic and chemical viewpoint, fruits are the highest forms of food on the planet. We are neurologically the highest forms of expression of consciousness on this planet. So you have to understand that these two have to merge. You can't be a God person and suck on turkey legs and eat dead tissue. It doesn't vibrationally fit energy and higher consciousness and things like this. Eating turkey legs and dead animals and things like that is good for the gonadals in terms of you may be turning them on, but then with all the acids and all that. Anyway, most of my body is covered with psoriasis. Wow! Mainly my lower legs from knees down, which are covered almost completely. I know that's where the toxins accumulate mostly. Well, yeah, because you got to go uphill to get out. Also, my private parts are affected, including the rectum. Oh, my God. Yeah, well, you're gonna be a little while detoxing, my friend, but detox you must. And you'd be the one I would probably definitely want to go a little slower with because your body's ready to split open. So, I mean, this is the person you wouldn't want to put on steroids because you could lock this person down so tight, it'd be a very serious problem breaking him loose because that's trouble. But Joe, you'd want to go, get to your green drinks and fruits. Get your fruit breakfast down. That's a given. No matter what, fruit breakfast is, that's a given. Once you get in that habit, your body won't like anything else. So fruit breakfast is get your salad for lunch and maybe a light fruit night, maybe some or a salad with steamed vegetables. Start moving though toward this direction. If you're past that, good. But this is going to take a little while to clear up. I'd also take salt baths if you're near the ocean. Go in the ocean a lot and go swimming. It'll just help with the symptoms on the outside a little bit. Salt is alkaline, and of course that's highly acidic sewage. So anything alkaline, but salt water is real good to back that down. Back that down. Internally, though, you've got to go after what? That's not blood you're seeing. That's the lymph system. So you're going after the kidneys and adrenal glands big time. Big time. Also, check your basal temperatures and get your thyroid up, because even though sweating might not be what you would like, you need to get that door open. And just start opening all your doors and getting your lymphatic system hydrated and detoxed, because that'll clear all that up head to toe. I've had plenty of cases head to toe. I've had cases that left half the skin as they walked, a path of skin and blood, because, you know, when you get too bad like that, you crack. Anytime you move, you can crack and bleed. I mean, it just can get real bad. But it's just a state of extreme acidosis where the lymph system is really backed up. My scalp is covered completely too, and it also affects my face. Yeah, you're in deep doo-doo here, man. You really have to get this done, because this is also, don't just think about the skin. Think about all this acid in the body, in the brain, in the liver, in the heart, in the lungs. So you can see that this system, of course, being systemic, can start chewing on you everywhere inside. That's serious stuff. Boy, I'd pull my eyes and take a look at that. I'd like to see your eyes just out of curiosity here. Whoo-wee. I bet you have a major skin ring. Wow. Let me see. I have started to look into my health properly as I recently developed some kind of inflammation in my knees. Some kind. You're full of inflammation. You're full of it. Head to toe, man. Whether you feel it or not, you're literally full of acids. And this is, it's just a matter of time. Goodbye knees, goodbye hips. Oh, there's my shoulder. I mean, that sort of thing. I had to stop working as I couldn't stand up for more than a few hours. Also, my tendons, ligaments, and muscles around my knees felt like they were fire. Well, they are. You guys are feeling just what you're experiencing. You're feeling acids, and acids burn. Remember urine on the baby's bottom without a changed diaper? Burns. Why do they burn? Acids. And where do these acids come from? Cells. Cell waste. Cell metabolitic, respiratory, all types of waste come from the body's movement of activity. So these wastes have to be collected and removed. This isn't a machine that the body can take these wastes and reconfigure them, or transmutate them, as we would say in chemistry. But if you were a breatharian, that would have to be somewhat the case. So I don't know how that would be. I've always wondered. You'd have to have water consumption to move. So I don't know. I mean, the thoughts of that one. Anyway. The pains were dull and sharp but varied each day. The inflammation started in December last year, and I have stopped working at the end of January as I was in so much pain. I suspected that this might have been a case of fibromyalgia starting. Well, Joe, you could just add that to the list, because these are just names for systemic acidosis. Names that the medical doctors give systemic acidosis. These are not diseases, no such thing as diseases. This is chemistry throwback, and it's biting you, it's burning you. And until you remove that chemistry, you can throw steroids at it, you can throw antibiotics at it, you can throw anything you want at these acids. You're only going to hurt yourself. And that's what they've proven. They've proved anything, that you can't treat symptoms. If the medical community has helped this world in any way, of course, a lot of people have died to prove that one. The simple point is you can't treat symptoms. You've got to understand causative factors. What's causing this? And eliminate that cause. Well, first you have to stop and look at your lifestyle. If you don't think what you eat, what you drink, and what you breathe, and what you put on your skin has any effect to your health at all, then you're dreaming in a world far, far, far away. And you are, I don't know, you've lost all sense of reason. Everything is chemistry. Literally, everything is chemistry. And everything affects everything. There's nothing that doesn't affect nothing. I can't stand here and not affect everything around me. I affect the atoms in the air as I move. Everything. You affect every single thing constantly. So everything affects another in every moment. So you have to look at your lifestyle. You have to look at what you're eating. You have to look. And what's interesting is when you change that, you change what you're eating to the foods you're designed to eat instead of the foods you were told to eat, you get well. You don't need to go to Harvard to understand that. You don't have to pay a university hundreds of thousands of dollars to get a degree that is a waste of time. Unless you want to be a surgeon or an ER doc, because the allopathic community must change. Must change. And their change is going to try to take our field over. That's what they all do. They always do that. They always get the praise for what we do. And so I just see that all the time happen locally too. But fibromyalgia is systemic acidosis. You can already throw that into your list, but don't label yourself with these disease names, because when you do that, you lock yourself toward the allopathic community, and that's ridiculous because they haven't helped you one little bit, have they? So you have to be careful not to take on these type of names. Understand chemistry and physics basically and what you're in. And if you said fibromyalgia, what word would we give it? Systemic acidosis. Since then, I have been researching a lot, and thank God I found you, and you're with... Oh, thanks, man. I have lived in UK for the last 9 years. You may want to get to some tropics for a while and get yourself into some either Thai food or fruit or Costa Rican fruit or some island fruit, and get yourself, work yourself out of this. Now, you're going to want to hit the herbs with the kidneys, adrenals, the lymphatics. Get on our 14-week protocol and really knock this in the head. Get to what this young man was doing before you, the grape fast and everything else. You need to do exactly what he's doing. And that'll clean that up. And if it gets a little worse while you're doing it, okay, use the salt baths and everything to buffer that, because your skin's going to want to breathe. Well, you're going to have more acids coming out. That could inflame the epidermis here. Okay, the dermis, you could inflame that. Okay, it's already inflamed. But get it out you must. You must get yourself filtering. Back home, Slovakia, to attempt a long water fast with my mom. I would probably do a fruit fast over a water fast, my friend. A water fast with what you've got, I don't think I would be smart myself. I mean, you could, but I would do a fruit fast. I'd do grapes or mangoes or whatever you could find. I would do that over anything with your mom. I have been eating mainly raw food, occasionally cooked meal. At the moment, we are on day 5 of the water fast. It's been okay. Oh, wow, okay. I have been feeling mainly weak and tired with some dizziness. Okay. So, again, you're going to feel tired when you start fasting, especially if you haven't got your adrenals up. So you're going to feel that a little bit. Now, so the weak and tired. Now, the dizziness means you're drawing from back here to cerebellum, but then you have it all over your scalp. So you're going to have all this acid through your brain, through your cerebellum, down through everything. That's just the way it's going to be. Also, I have been feeling discomfort in my lower back, and, well, there's your kidneys and adrenals right there, so you're going to feel that, right? And my eyes have been sore. I imagine this is my kidneys and liver working hard, if they're working. Detoxifying. Just to reassure you, I have done extensive research on the water fast, and we both would be doing any physical work, and we will rest any time. Well, that's good. That's good. I mean, the fact that you're focusing in this way is your savior. One way or another, you're going to take care of this. You'll get this cleaned out. Get yourself on a herbal program. This will really make the big difference. I tell you, if you're going to try the difference there, try like this one lad. Try, 3-4 months on raw, using fruit fasts and stuff like that. And then add the herbs and try it. Look at the difference. Neither of us will be working. Okay, she's not in the acute pain, but there has been a few problems she had throughout her life. She's 54 years young. That's your mom. She has had meningitis. Uh-oh. Well, right there tells you that you are systemically involved because your mom's systemically involved. I mean, she's involved all in her brain, that sort of thing. And remember, this is the glymphatic system, or what they call the glymphatic system. But yeah, I mean, definitely, she wants to get her kidneys filtering and get her lymph system moving like you, bro, because I mean to tell you, this is not good. Meningitis when she was 11 years old. After the first pregnancy, when 26, she had developed varicose veins, and she has had them ever since. So what's weak in her? Parathyroid gland, so she needs a glandular for the parathyroid gland. At the same time, she's taking a couple of bottles. What I would do is 1-3 times a day on the parathyroid glandular. At the same time, I would probably add a superfood blend number 2, or I would add a bones formula just to regenerate and get that connective tissue strengthened up, and those varicose veins will pull in. But pull in they want to, because your mom could be heading toward an aneurysm or something. You don't know how bad this is. So it's just acids taking calcium out of the body to try to help the, to neutralize this problem. And so you got to fix you guys up. She has had 9 kids. She has 9 kids altogether. I am the oldest. She also has occasional joint pains in her cervical spine, causing her discomfort and headaches. Well, I mean, you can tell tell everything you're saying that she's backed up head to toe like you are. And of course, 9 kids going to suck the heck of the calcium out of her, so you can see what that is. So I definitely hit the parathyroid, regenerate her in that way, get her lymph system filtering, fix the kidney and adrenals, because you're probably writing on her kidney and adrenals, and for sure you're writing on her lymph system, so her lymph system probably is not much better than yours, because remember, you got her lymph system when you were visiting inside for 9 months or whatever. I would like to ask you for any advice you would give me and my mom, perhaps the things to look out for during our fast. Well, I would start slow, but you're already jumping right into a water fast, so get that done. And then, of course, you'll probably be done by the time you get this. But I'd go into a balanced diet of predominantly fruits, say 80% fruits and 20% veggies or green drinks, and work yourself in that manner. And then a 30-day great fast would be smart, especially both of you, because the lymph systems is a big focus for you. Look at the kidney filtration, pee in a jar, make sure your kidneys are filtering, go after your kidneys, get some herbs and get your bodies cleaned out, and you'll be good. All this stuff will go away, you'll regenerate knees, anything like that. Who knows what you experience on a fast. Depends how weak the adrenals are, to the energy levels. We just discussed that with the last case there. This is very common to be fatigued when you start fasting and stuff because you're cutting up. However, when you take care of all this, when you go on a fast, you will have more energy than not. Typically, you have more energy fasting than you would eating. Why? The loss of digestive energy. This is true except that when you consume fruits. Everything else requires so much digestive energy, it's almost a wash. I mean, vegetables will give you a little kick, no question. I don't know how much energy digesting a salad would take out in terms of angstroms. But I'm going to say that if the Homo sapien is somewhere around 68 to 7,000 angstroms in his healthy state, or semi-healthy state, then it would be probably... I would say you would take a 9,000 angstrom vegetable and knock it down to 5, maybe, with the loss of digestion, where a fruit, you would maybe only drop it 2, so you drop it from, say, 12,000 to 10,000, where a vegetable would only give you half that energy. You have to look at physics, too. This is about energy as much as it is about chemistry. And so they come packing together when you have them from nature. Because nature is chemistry and physics in action. And so when you eat that way, you consume that way. It's hard for some to realize this, no question, because we were raised on cooked foods and all this sort of thing like that, and this idea of, fruit, what is that? Because now there's a movement to discredit fruit. Who's creating this movement, do you think? No one here. This is all the mind. This is all the mind doing this. The mind is extreme. It is the ruler of creation. Unless you pull yourself into the now consciousness where you're conscious, or soul, or whatever word you want to give, pure consciousness, you can be a victim of that mind. And you must be careful because it's been trained for a long time. Your mind is totally a much bigger entity than your physical body or your emotional body. Your mind is the biggest part you run in creation. And right now, governments and people have learned how to use the mind to control you and to teach you things that are not true, all for financial purposes. So it's always that one word, all about the money. It would be much appreciated. I have included pictures of my eyes, which were taken on 4th of the fast. Hope that will be determining underlying issues. I apologize with that, but Chris is not pulling the eyes off for me. And I'm going to tell him I'm going to be gone for a week or so, but I'm going to tell him to start pulling the eyes, because I won't read it, but I'll go look at them real quick. So, Joe, I appreciate that. Let me make note on here. Chris. Okay, so I'll tell him to do that. I tell him I only want them to look at quick glance. All right, and maybe he'll do that, because I want to be able to get more people's questions answered, but I would like to see those eyes. The eyes are intriguing to me. The eyes tell it all. And once you learn how to read your eyes, so I've got enough, I think, up there on reading eyes to do that. If not, go through the school where you get to level 2, and then we spend a pretty good time reading the eyes. But pretty easy. Another thing, make things easy. Some things appear hard on the surface, but when you open the books, they're pretty easy. And iridology is an easy one. I think if you look at easy, that's a God thing. When you look at complexity, that's a mind thing. I'm planning on taking the Fab 4 about 3 weeks into the refeeding after the fast to enhance the elimination of all garbage I have said I have inside me. You reckon that's a good idea? Oh, I do, but I would probably kick it up even more aggressive. If you have the affordability, pick it up. Really go for that. And dig in. Make sure your kidneys are filtering. Hit your adrenals. These are the core weaknesses that almost every human has. Kidneys, adrenals, endocrine glands of some sort, whether it be the pituitary, thyroid, parathyroid. The nervous system, of course, is weak, the autonomic, because of the adrenals. So there's a system to always go after, and we were talking about that one, the young lad that just passed recently from a stroke. 15-year-old, from just the thing you guys need to understand and work with to keep people well here. Anyway, I'd be happy to hear from you. Thank you for your advice. I also have 8 amalgam fillings in my teeth. I'm planning to have them taken out. I definitely would have my metal fillings taken out for sure. I felt the last one that went out of me, so I would do that. Yeah, I mean, have fun on these things, but definitely use herbs and definitely make sure your kidneys are filtering. So there's definitely certain tissues. If you don't go after anything else, there's certain tissues to go after, and one, of course, is kidneys and adrenals. 2 or 3 is going to be the GI tract. So you always want to go after the eliminative organs. That's your kidneys and your GI tract. You always want to go after your glandular system. It controls literally everything. You want to go after your nervous system because literally the glands control that, but that controls literally everything. You see where I'm going here? And your lymph system, that is the one. Your blood will clean up beautifully as you do all of this. You don't have to focus on that blood. If you have a spleen or bone marrow problem, you can focus on that. I just have to make sure I get this one done. We're in a fight right now to save a young lad, and this guy's got a court hearing tomorrow.
Hi.
Hi. Did you get my message?
Uh-huh.
Could you email or text Shannon? Tell her I've gone over that letter to the judge. Tell her I'm down here recording. If she wants to stop by, or I'll leave it on her desk. But I thought she should look at that again and maybe call me. And go over with me on the phone.
Okay. I'll text her.
Okay, thanks. Okay, bye.
Bye.
Okay, what regimen would you recommend to cure herpes completely, 100%? Well, there's only one. There's only one, and that's detoxification. You can't kill viruses out of the body. You can't kill them. They're proteins. They're not single-celled organisms. They're not like breathing, living humans or beings. They're proteins with attitudes. Because everything, it's important to understand that everything has a certain level of consciousness or awareness to it. You can't be in creation without that. You can't be in creation and be dead, static. Just doesn't happen. Can't do it. It's impossible, because every single thing comes out of consciousness. Therefore, every single thing has consciousness. It's just that it's individualized and playing the duality game. You must have duality in order to experience. So God had to individualize itself and set up this illusion of duality where you have two magnetic poles, or two poles that energy can go back and forth from, setting up magnetism and the movement of electrons and protons from all this. Just that when you look at how things are created with atoms and the electron moves, that whole ionization, oxidation, the whole, I mean, it's just on and on and on with cycles of chemical interactions. But when these happen, there's also chemical properties created that also are of the acid variety. Everything goes down to the acid side as everything goes toward the atom again, because they're corrosive, they break things down, and they can take acids are the most powerful way to take things down to the atoms again, ripping things apart, tissue and things like that. So when you understand that that's the side that will take you toward the death side, that's not the side you want to use to get people well, is it? So you want to detoxify, it's the other way to get them out. Either one of the herpes, it doesn't matter. Genital, simplex, it doesn't matter. You know, and most people have herpes in them, one level or another. You know, everybody had smallpox pretty much, or most everybody. It's just that sort of another medical sickness. Another medical sickness. The things that we're having to deal with because of their thinking has messed us up. So you want to detox that. Get your kidneys filtering, get the adrenals up, because you can only detox viral loads out of the body. How do we know that? Because we've been doing HIV and Hep C viral loads for how long? So, and they're all very successful. You know, herpes the same way, but you can only detox them out. So take a look at your lymph system, because that's the system that you have to deal with. And remember, these are proteolytic, so these herpes comes out when what? Virals come out when what? We had a long talk about this on a video about HIV and Hep C virals and things. They're just viral loads. However, the more acidic you are, they become real, because they're proteins. And they help breed a protein environment. They help breed an acid environment. But they're more antigens. So more antigens, they're more signalers. If they don't adhere to cells, then they just become viral loads. And symptomology is good, everything's good. But it's like in HIV, you can have an HIV viral load, or you can have AIDS, which is viruses with attitudes. And attitude just simply means that you're so acidic now they're attaching to cells, and you have your immune responses to that. But that's the only way you're going to get anything out of the body. Heavy metals, mercury, anything like that. What other word would you use to get that out? There is some antidotes, but like a friend of mine, a medical doctor, said one day to me, he said, I've been looking for an antidote for sulfur, because he had sulfur in his eyes and he saw that. And I said, I don't know. I don't know. Other than hydration and astringents and detox, I don't know how you do. And I don't know to date that he's found anything. I'm sure there's some type of chemistry that's more aggressive at removing sulfur or sulfur derivative compounds like sulfur drugs. But remember the story of Charles Goodyear, and this stuff is like a glue. Okay, so let's go to Jennifer W. Well, this ought to be good. Okay, this is Crystal I hope I'm supposed to read this. Really? Let's see. Recently ran across your YouTube channel. You mentioned some small talk about pancreatic cancer. My father-in-law has this, and although I do not have all the details, I am told it is very serious. I was wondering what at-home steps could he do in a natural, holistic way until he returns to his doctor for follow-up. We are in New Jersey. They will not offer anything at this because his body is in a weak state with kidney problems as well. Fresh squeezed navel orange juice on May 10th. This is Mother's Day, and happy Mother's Day to all you lovely ladies out there that are mothers. It's a trip raising children in a world like this, ain't it? I know. I've got a couple boys and a bunch of grandchildren and one or two great-grandchildren on the way. Holy Lordy God. Well, whether it's pancreatic cancer, of course, I love the medical doctors and they say, oh, pancreatic cancer, that's the worst, you're done. We can't do anything for that one. Are you kidding me? They can't do anything for any of them. I mean, I have to laugh when someone says that. They can't do anything for any of them, except go ahead and take them down to Hellville and Deathville. You can't do anything with them, because they don't understand what forms them. So you have to understand that the problem first started in the kidneys, right? So he's going to have kidney problems. See, when you start looking at the cases, kidneys pop their ugly little heads up all the time. Not that you're ugly kidneys, but you know what I'm saying? So you got to fix the kidneys. To fix the pancreas, you got to fix the kidneys. You got to go fix those baby kidneys. So he's got to get into those kidneys with kidney herbs. I run people with 2 different kidney herbs, and if I have to, I add a glandular on top of that, because the key is what? Filtration of those kidneys. So you have to hit the adrenal glands and the kidneys. Those are key. Of course, you're going to put them on, either you put them on a 14-week protocol here, or I'll write you one. You have to get with the Elizabeth on that. Or, get out there and find some kidney formulas, lymphatic formulas, and start giving it to them. Because this is really key to do this. You have to get this out, because this is of the lymph system. And if you can't address a tumor, you have to address the lymph system. The tumor is just the body's way of protecting the surrounding tissue. This is a protective device the body does. This isn't something real bad. It's just that as tumors increase, because you're supposed to fix it, and of course people don't know how to fix it, and obviously most doctors on this planet don't know how to fix something that simple. So, these tumors get big and impress and close off the flow of energy. Blood, nerve, or lymph, or all 3. So things just swell more, get numb, break down, and of course then finally death is the result of that. But you can have tumors in you all your life and never have a problem. It's just what they do. Having tumors growing around tissue, of course, is going to destroy the tissue, because tumors are just acid sewage. But so what? The tissue's in the tumor, no big deal. You're done. It's good. The body will take care of that, sending them to the lymph nodes. Your big focus is kidneys, getting the kidneys to filter so that system can work, getting that system hydrated. And of course, you're going to work on the GI tract, because it's not just in his pancreas, it's in his liver, and just a matter of time where you'll see a lesion over in the liver gallbladder as well. And oh, wait a minute, there's the spleen. Oh, wait, he's got something in the lungs. Oh, look, he's got something developing in the brain. This is a systemic problem, whether it's pancreatic cancer or not, and you have to deal with that. Pancreatic cancer is no different than liver or any other cancer. They're all the same. You've got to get the kidneys filtering and get the adrenals up and get this system going and hydrated, and then you'll be successful. He's a weakened state because his kidneys and adrenals, and you can't treat those states. But thank God they were at least good enough to tell him that they can't treat it because he's too weak. Because I've seen them where it didn't matter. It didn't matter. They got the money they could. They think they're going to die anyway. No big deal. Get what we can. These are kind of attitudes that are out there, believe it or not. And you have to protect yourselves. And that's why I'm here. I'm here to help you learn how to protect yourselves and keep yourselves from this kind of harm. And you'll go on and have a good life and grow spiritually and everything else. But you've got to go after this and get him going on this now. Matter of fact, You can't treat this again. If your father decides to treat it, it could be the end of your relationship with your father, at least at the physical level. So I would really get him awake and let him view these videos, and the one on chemo particularly, but view how you overcome tumors and things like this. You know, if you treated it as a disease, as the medical doctors do, you will end up just like they do, dying or killing yourself. And it's the way it is, because you can't kill or treat something you don't understand, especially with acids at the level that they're using. This is just, it's criminal. It's criminal. Criminal. So I'd go right after that. Get the kidneys, the adrenals, go after the GI tract, get stomach and bowel, whatever. I go 2 kidneys, 2 lymphatics, 1 lymph node, 1 lymphatic system, just as we laid out here. 1 capsule, 1 tincture of kidney and lymphatics. You want the adrenal glands? I would hit the, if he's that fatigued, I'd hit the 400 milligram adrenal glandulars and get those adrenals up. That'll have a strong punch on the kidneys and get your dad fixed up. Because if not, I would nurture my relationship a little bit. Let me see, not a member, contact for submission, PA. All right, general inquiry. After I sustained a traumatic brain injury in a bad auto accident, oh man, ouch, in 1998, wow, that's a long time back, my body has suffered hemostasis similar to that of a stroke victim. My left arm and leg are very disabled from the spastic high muscle tone. Oh yeah, I bet. After years of bad occupational therapy and my neglect, both of my left limbs are experiencing progressively worse limitations. I'd like to know if Dr. Morse has associates could tell me about natural foods. Well, let me tell you, you want to eliminate this. This is a must-do like yesterday, obviously. So you really want to go into this. First of all, my recommendation is upper circulation in brain and nerve. That is for everybody, especially for trauma in the brain, anything that's going on upstairs. Upper circulation increases blood flow, oxygenated blood flow aggressively to brain cells, neurons. The brain and nerve formula enhances the functionability of neurons. Right? Now, what system is supposed to help clean the trauma, damaged cells, all that, all the trauma, which is acidic from the trauma? Who cleans up the mess in these areas? The blood, the spilled interstitially, all the things like that. Well, it isn't your blood system, it's your lymphatic system, your glymphatic system too. So that's showing you that your lymph system hasn't been helping you to clean this out, because in reality, a trauma like that, if your kidneys were filtering and your diet was good, you'd simply clean all the acid hit, the damaged cells, all this out of those tissues. All that would pull the inflammation out of there, and then the body could rebuild those cells, especially on the proper diet. But you can't rebuild neurons on dead foods, and you can, I mean, it'd be a miracle to regenerate a little fraction of the nervous system on vegetables. From my experience getting people out of wheelchairs and MS and all this, it takes fruits, berries, and melons. Period. End of story. But that's a high electrical chemical diet. I mean, you have to understand why that is so powerful on us. It's a high electrical chemical diet with minimal digestive energy loss. So you're getting almost all the energy full bore. It's a big deal. The second thing to this, I'd go on a fruit, berry, and melon diet exclusively. I'd work myself up there. You could pump some green drinks for a while, but I would work myself up to an all raw fruit, berry, and melon diet, period. The other thing, I'd be going after the kidneys, the adrenal glands. I'm really going after these tissues, big time. You could get some raw brain tissue. They do sell that in terms of glandulars, and help you in that way electrify the brain. I mean, there are ways at all levels of injury and trauma that you can help. But you have to understand, going back to the system we talk so much about, the lymphatic system, going back to that system as the cleaning system from trauma. So you have to understand that these areas need to be cleaned. A good example is if you bruise yourself, how long does it take for that bruise to go away? That's how fast or slow your lymph system's working. So that's something you want to take a look at that. And get on the fruits and stuff, and you can get all that numbness, you can get all that out, you can get your life back. Get your life back. You might have some symptoms because of the amount of time passed from this. You might see them, but remember, your body can even rearrange itself. Skulls, everything else. So this will be exciting for you because you can get yourself out of this mess. But you want to. It's the only way to get yourself out of this one. And you're seeing how you have the decay in the central nervous system and the blow back to the autonomic. So again, you want to go into that body, address that lymphatic system. In that system, you're addressing the adrenal glands, which is the autonomic nervous system. So you're going to have a kick up from that. It'll kick up into the cerebellum. You're going to have upper circumbrain where it's going to electrify the central. And, of course, it will turn on the autonomic as well. So, see, all these things you're doing will get you out of this trouble. And you'll be good to go. But that's the only way I know for you to get out of this, and then you'll be done. All these years you've suffered, you can reverse this and turn it around and get your limbs back and everything else back. If not, you see the decay. And some of that's showing you, come back to the lymph system, the decay of that. Everything gets stiff, tight, acidic, edemic, those sort of things. And nothing ever good comes of that. You start losing function of arms, limbs, breathing is difficult. It just goes on and on and on. You don't have to do that. You can turn that all around. Turn that all around and rebuild yourself. I would, because who wants to live like that? This is Revon. Revon Lie. Oh, wow. Doctor, dear doctor, first of all, I would like to thank you for your amazing vids. Oh, thanks, man. I'm trying to keep them up. I've had a lot of things come up, but I'm getting it. I'm getting ready to go in about a weekday, and I just need to get into some mountain air. I've got so many videos up here for you guys. Your answers are in them. I'm going to keep doing them as long as I can stand. So I just feel so bad that I can't get to all of you. But remember, one case can be very similar to your case, and it can help you. But I don't care what cases. Apply the principles of detoxification, and you're going to win your case. If you apply the principles of treatment to any case, even trauma, most of the time you lose. Even trauma needs detoxification. Why? Because even trauma has sewage to be removed, has damaged tissue to be removed, and the lymph system is the only system that can do it. And if you don't do it, of course, all that decay of tissue sets up acidosis again, and then it sets up all kinds of problematic problems. And if you were to get bacteria interstitially, that's not where the body really wants them. But that you're going to have a cleaning machine, and then, of course, everybody's freaking because of what they see. So you need that pathway opened and functioning for you. But detoxification / regeneration. Because you can't get to regeneration without detoxification. Impossible. Because detoxification is the process of rebuilding the human body. And it has to take in account to the lymphatic system, the sewer system, which is the main problem of man's suffering. It's not his blood, it's his sewer system. He's eating foods that increase sewage in the body, that leave more acid sewage in the body, that fills the body full of mucus so it can't breathe or function. So we're doing all these things and we wonder why we're suffering. You don't have to look any further to your lifestyles, and changing your lifestyle corrects all that. How interesting, how simple. You don't need a long Harvard degree to know that. And if you think you do, then you're trapped, caught. Doctor, I'm 24 years old and I myself am a final year med student. I'm having acne continuously since I was 19. I've diagnosed myself that I might have PCOS, fingers crossed. I'm having frontal hair loss. Oh, this must be a female. Female. Oh. If you have polycystic ovarian syndrome, you have acne, how are those two related? They're the lymph system. As a medical student, you want to look up the lymphologist in medical so you at least understand that there's a higher order of thinking in the medical community that thinks the lymph system is the core of man's problems. Granted, they only focus on blood proteins as that's why the lymph system is there. Again, no mention of cellular waste, and that has to be understood. I'm having frontal hair loss. Now, frontal hair loss, oh crap, no. Upper circuit, brain, and nerve. Hair loss in the frontal lobe means what? Your sinuses are probably involved, and you might not even know it, but this is where you're congested lymphatically. Now, you're talking about acids and taking off hair follicles, so I would get up upper circuit, brain, and nerve at the same time. You want to get those kidneys and drain this head area and drain that down, because you're popping ovarian cysts because of that. Same system. So you want to back that down. Of course, by getting into a detoxification mode, you're going to balance out your steroids and hormones. So everything will be balanced out. If you have a pituitary weakness or something, yeah, that will help. But as you pop cysts and tumors and things like this is of the lymphatic system. There's no other system for it to be of. And so you have to understand these are of that system. Irregularities and menstrual, that's what I thought. I didn't even read that yet, but that's just what I thought. You're right here in the pituitary area. So the pituitary is going to be down, so your control of menstruation is going to be off. So you can control that by either the female reproductive formula, chaste tree, vitex, that's a pituitary berry, or you can take a pituitary glandular. I only recommend one bottle, just especially to get your menses balanced out. Matter of fact, as a potential medical doctor, glandulars would be just up your alley. I would think you'd learn more about the glandulars. That would be a good thing to use instead of actually using something, a hormone or steroid. Picking up that pituitary a little bit will bring that female, the monthly cycles into balance. But here's where you have the inflammation. Because you have hair loss, that means that acids are taking down the hair follicles. That means also everything involved in the frontal lobes and everything else also can be involved. So, I mean, that also could take you to your stomach too. And you might find some stomach problems in your body from that as well. And I would work on my GI tract to get the sinus cavities and all this frontal to drain, get this back to drain. I would do my neurolymphatic points, hot and cold compresses, hydrotherapy on the back. That's like a massage area. And get my kidneys filtering. Pee in a jar. You're a medical student. Pee in a jar. Is there sewage in it? A little opposite what you're trained, but take a look at that. If there's not sewage in your urine, you know why you're losing hair. And so get that urine, get those kidneys filtering. Get those adrenal glands up. Check your blood pressure, both arms. Something else they don't train you in med, but both arms. Why? Kidney and adrenals. Kidney and adrenals. You got one on each side. Systolic adrenals, diastolic kidneys. Very serious stuff here. You want urine to filter because this lady is in trouble here, and nothing good comes of this because she's only she's 24. So if she's not careful, early dementia, Alzheimer's, and of course with the pituitary going down, there goes her thyroid and parathyroid as well. TSHs go off, PTHs, her FSH is already off. So that's follicle stimulating hormone that turns on the ovarian estrogen and things like that. So you can see that. You can see where her problem is. She's seeing hair loss. She's having pituitary problems. You can see that with the kickback on the menses. These continue. Their acne, of course, that she's backed up. She's not filtering through the kidneys. Her subcutaneous tissues are taking the brunt of this. And so she's backed up, and therefore her skin is exuding acne on that. You clean all that out, sweetheart, and you're done. And as a med student, it might be a good thing for you to enjoy this and show yourself just what you can do outside of medical thinking. So if you do enter into that world, you'll be a good medical doctor, and you'll be helping people the way you know how to, and that'll set you way apart from your brethren who don't know the first thing about how to cure anything. And that's how you get a reputation in today's world, because there's plenty of MDs out there, and they're not favorably looked on. This is the problem. The blowback from what's been going on there hasn't hit the medical doctors yet, like it will. This is coming. You can take it to the bank. I mean, I can just tell you what's in the works coming, and there's going to be some blowback yet. Not good blowback, but it's essential. So all you good medical doctors out there, move away from that now, because you're going to see some blowback coming. It's just in the get to a psychic and let them tell you what's coming. Abnormal hair growth. Again, abnormal hair growth. Matter of fact, it can also grow in thick and dry. I mean, you can have all kinds of abnormal stuff because acids stimulate too. So you can have all kinds of mutations of even hair. Unmanageable. I mean, you just go on. That's soft. All kinds of problems there. Around navel and around nipples. Interesting. Abnormal hair growth. Well, again, you could be kicking up the testosterone, suppressing the estrogen. I mean, your steroids and hormones can be all whacked out because the main CEO up here, the pituitary, sounds like it's a little inflamed or suppressed or hyperstimulated. You could have part of it suppressed and part of the pituitary hyperstimulated. You don't have to just think something's going to go hypo, because you have a lot of different cells in these tissues, and so you can have some of them suppressed, some of them hyperstimulated. I mean, you see a world of differences, but that's the illusion that locks medical doctors to not understanding everything, because they see all these different areas. But the final analysis, after it's all been looked at and filtered down, the final analysis is this. There's only two major sides of chemistry. There's only two major fluids that control the health and well-being of each cell. Each cell in your body is where the buck stops, and they're each one genetic in their memory and their emotions and in their physical structures. And these genetics can be changed, but you have to understand a little physics and how that leads to consciousness and what consciousness is, and how that is found in fruits, berries, and melons, and in the herbs. How is all that possible? And that was level 1 this time, and we had a good level 1, I thought. In other words, it's going to be the new tapes coming out, and we went pretty good in the understanding of these inner bodies and how they affect cell genetics and cell functionability. It's a very important area to understand if you want to understand cell genetics and why we can regenerate that genetic memory and how we can make those cells healthy again. Change the whole thing, and you just reverse. The simplicity of this is you just reverse how you're changing it. Remember, there's two sides to everything. That's creation. So if one side's taking you down, what would that tell you? Get on the other. Man, it's so intellectual, he can't see the simplicity of things. So that's why we're all in the state of affairs we're in. What should I do? I didn't consult any doctor because I really don't want to go for synthetic hash medicine. Smart person, smart lady here. I treat this naturally. Oh, you can. I'll help you easy. This is not, in other words, get yourself on a fruit diet, fruit, berries, and melons. Have your salad at lunch so you can experience that, or at night. Get yourself moving on this that way. Get on the 14-week protocol, because as a potential physician, you can experience just what the magic of herbs can do for yourself. Because you can't give an opinion unless you try something, and you give it fair and honest try. You can't give your opinions on things. And medical doctors are constantly giving their opinion on herbs, and I just want to throw up when they do, because it's very rarely favorable. And yet, they're sitting dispensing pharmaceuticals that have fatal events. It's such an oxymoron. It's just such insanity. It's hard to comprehend that people are actually buying into all that. It's a mess. And you don't trust herbs and stuff like that. So I get up on the herbs and have fun. Get your kidneys filtering, sweetheart, and get your adrenals up. Check your blood pressure both sides. See where you are systolically. That's going to be a little adrenal look. If your diastolic is above 70, you start subtracting that from the top, because you're going to see this. But with this hair loss and all this just shows congestion and lymphatic stagnation. And of course, you see the acne, of course, is another example of the same stuff. So all you're seeing is a systemic hit on a lymph system that's not filtering through the kidneys. The problem is you're getting a blowback to the pituitary, and this could be a genetic blowback too. Now, where else do you want to look? You want to look to transverse colon and stomach, because you take a picture of your eyes, because as a physician, you want to. Remember, a surgeon discovered this. So get your pics of the eyes. Look at your stomach and transverse colon, because I guarantee you, mid-transverse, you're going to have some problems here. It just comes with that frontal pituitary thing. And reverse this, and I'll help you. I'll glad to help you, honey. You can turn all this around. You want to before they do a hysterectomy on you or some stupid thing like that. Fix those kidneys, and you'll quit having ovarian cysts come and go. Because this all leads to cervical issues, vaginal wall issues, uterine issues. I mean, we just keep on going because you're already involved way up here. So you're already involved systemically. So this is just, everything down below is just up for grabs too. So that's what makes it. You don't want to pop tumors on the neck and stuff like this, and that's what happens when you start getting involved up here lymphatically. So important to get these doors opening, sweetheart, and get your lymph system cleaned out. I would definitely jump on herbs, and if your blood pressure is too low, get on a glandular for the adrenals is what I do. And you'll pull yourself away from all of that. I'd be glad to help you. Matter of fact, this is no offense anybody. This is an easy case. So any of the counselors here, Marcy, Jen, all be able to help you well. Urine pH. Hi there. Dr. Morse gave us specific details on how to test the pH of your urine. For example, what pH to expect at different times of the day. Well, you know what? These are intellectual things, and I never got into that. I never got into that because I didn't care. Because, you know, there's enough as there is. There's enough. And when you try to know everything,
N-O.
You can't. There's too much. And there's too much for one person to take on. That's why I got you guys, right? That's what you're for. You're to help everyone and help us and help yourselves. I mean, we're act as one. When you act as one, the power is strong, and we can effectively make some nice changes. And then these med students will have something to look forward to because they'll be able to cure their cases, not hurt their cases, and it will help change the medical consciousness totally around. That's their only savior, is to have ladies like this one here learn the truth, fix themselves, and go into med school and go, let me tell you what I did, what I went through, and what I did to fix it. Because you're going to have a lot of cases just like yours. There's cases like yours all over the place, honey. This world is full of your cases, and at your ages. Look at what I'm reading here all the time about the acne, psoriasis, eczema. I mean, it doesn't matter whatever name you want to give it. It's just the lymphatic system, and that's a deadly system. But unfortunately, it's a very painful and long suffering system. Blood kill you quick. Better. So, but I will say this. You want to be filtering most of the time. And it's like the thyroid. There's going to be times where the thyroid is just going to have a low basal temperature. You're just going to have a down day. And that's cyclic. I've been watching basal temperatures. A lot of people check them every day. Some are religious with that. Same with blood pressures, blood sugars. So we get to see a lot of stats. And I can just say that everybody has it. I don't care how good you are. Everybody has a down day once a week or so. And it's just a body going through cycles. I can't say I understand them totally because, I'd rather try to understand the universe as opposed to getting too nano. You know, you get too nano, you start restricting your vision, and it can be claustrophobic to go too nano. So I'm more a theoric thinker. I'm more out there, and I don't know what to say. I don't like to focus too much because it's just too hard on consciousness. But these are cases that are easy to win. And any of you guys can learn how to take this med student and fix her up completely. And if you understand detoxification, through these videos, you will continue to understand about the parathyroid, the fact that the pituitary is the master gland. It can suppress parathyroid. It can suppress the ovaries. Therefore, you have irregular menses or stop bleeding it completely. Things like this. When you see a female going to chemotherapy, a lot of times they stop bleeding completely. So you know chemo has severely damaged the pituitary or ovaries. And you can just imagine it's the pituitary. So here they're giving you a Drano or a battery acid that's destroying your brain. For the sake of what? I mean, this is just the type of insanity that you guys are stuck in, and you got to get out of that. because it's just insane, and you can't get well using those principles. They're not principles to get well on. Like the machines, it's a Joe. Oh, Joe on the pH. But most of the time, you want your urine to be somewhere in the low 6s, in my opinion. Are you going to have them lower sometimes? Oh, sure. You're going to have an alkaline urine once in a while? Probably. Just at the very nature of all the base chemistry you're consuming, and some days hydrating, some days not. You know, just the waxing and waning of the human body, the constant cyclic move of the human body. So I wouldn't give it too much of that, because, again, this is what I talk about intellectualism. And I just didn't want a part of that. Hey, at 2 o'clock is your urine this pH? Now at 4 o'clock it should be this pH. No, because what you have is everyone is an individual. Everyone, I'll give a good example is nursing. Nursing has ladies and men that work different shifts. When you work different shifts, if you ever done that, you ever work night shift, you see how it changes you. So, yeah, it would be hard to look at all these cycles and say, all right, everyone should be at this time, at this cycle. I just think that's too intellectual. I think you'd be getting too much into that. I think basically you should have acid urine in the 6s if you have good bacterial action. I know Alkalizer Dye, I think he was saying that he liked a pH of 5.5. When I see 5.5s, I don't know. I still say a little too acidic. Everybody goes to the 6s. The low 6s that are in my care, and that's where I see most people. So around that. What about saliva? You want that alkaline, right? You want it reverse of the urine. Matter of fact, there's only a few tissues in your body that is designed to withstand some acids, because this is like urinary tract tissue, kidney and bladder, or stomach, gastric tissue. They can handle a little acid, but too acid ulcerates them. Kidneys can break down, stomach can break down. You get a lot of stomach cancer out there, kidney cancer. So these tissues aren't strong to handle hot acids, but they can handle a little bit. That makes them strong regenerators. Stomach tissue's always been strong to regenerate. Stomach cancer's always been fairly easy for most people. There have been some difficult cases, no question. You know, you wait till the last few days of your life to do something about your problem. Don't be surprised if you take your trip early. Let me see. And what to do if your urine is acidic at certain times? Nope. I wouldn't even go there. That is way too intellectual. And what are you going to do? That's where your life is going to be. That's where your attention is going to be. The whole idea of this is to get healthy simplistically and have your consciousness in things that matter. More broader. Traveling the universes out of body. You know, I saw this special last night on the History Channel where this government was hiring psychics at World War II to read the minds of Russians so they would know ahead of time their actions, you know. And these were, one guy was telling his story, and he's an out-of-body traveler. So he would travel to Russia where they were having these meetings, and he would bring back the information. And of course, Russia's doing the same thing. I mean, all the countries that have any awareness like that have been using mind control and mind things since the 70s. I mean, I knew that in the Air Force. So it just, gotta know, there's worlds so much grander and bigger than this little one. And even on this little one, you can have fun. But getting too focused on things like this, to me, is ridiculous. If you want to, I don't know where you're going to find that and where you can find a consistent pH out there that you would actually want to put out there. Because putting that kind of information out there is, again, creating fear-based stuff. I check my urine. Well, it's not 6 pH at this time. What am I going to do? Well, have an orange. Well, how long does that take to metabolize and change the urine? You see what I'm saying? You can't do those things. This is ridiculous. But there is cycles, and yes, there's going to be differences at different times, no question about it. Cycles are going to be different depending on the individual, also different depending upon the state of health of what? Your endocrine glands. You know, your endocrine glands control everything in the body. So, you know, But what controls them? Consciousness, awareness. Remember physics? They're now understanding that chemistry is just frequencies of electromagnetic energy. Electromagnetic energy is pure energy, and pure energy can be dictated as intelligence. What does that all tell you? So when you work that back, if you're going to use the mind for anything, use it for the exploration of consciousness. I looked for a video, but I couldn't find one that addresses this, and there aren't too many details in his book either, but I feel like it's an important way of monitoring your pH balance. When I wake up, my pH is usually acid. Is this my body detoxing overnight? Well, absolutely. Your body, your body is in a constant state of flux, a constant state of waxing and waning, from enhancing to cleaning, enhancing to cleaning. The neat thing about it is your foods, just think about this. Common sensely, shouldn't your foods be self-cleaning? So your body is cleaning itself while it's also neutralizing itself? Yeah, absolutely. It's feeding itself, and at the same time it cleans itself. What better could you ask? That's why you see the difference between activity and rest. Activity is rebuilding and changing as an acidic environment. Rest is an alkaline detoxifying environment. And they go hand in hand whether you're actively trying to detox or not. Those that are constantly stressed and on the go, they don't have time to detox and rest, they go down. Their bodies go down. It's just that process. Sometimes it is acidic in the evening as well. Many things. Joe, you want your urine always acidic, in my opinion, because it's the eliminator of cellular waste. What's in between the kidneys, though, and cells that are eliminating their waste? Septic tanks, lymph nodes. And what's in that lymph node that specifically addresses acids? Not the macrophages that addresses damaged cells. What else is in the lymph nodes that addresses acids from the cells specifically? Bacterium. And if you're one that loves to jump on antibiotics every time you see an infection, not understanding that the bacteria is in there trying to help you break down the sewage, and that's not what's infectious, it is the acids that is infectious, if you want to use that word. Proteins are infectious. It's proteins, not carbon. Proteins, and so those are the things we have to deal with. So that's what you're constantly working on, is detoxifying those out of the body, getting the eliminated organs back in a state of working, and everything is good and healthy. Too much intellectualism on that loses everybody. And then you have to also think as a practitioner. You start pulling something like that on your clients, you could start losing them, because the worst thing you can do is stop talking over your clients or getting them too intellectualized. They just will pull away. The average person likes simplicity, especially in America. That's why you don't see us standing up when we should stand up. That's why you see our heads buried in the sand. We fought so many wars, we're tired, and it's just. But we can't do it anymore because it's a constant battle here. It's a constant battle between the positive and negative side of itself. Constant war. I have a question regarding my lymphatic system. Who is this? Jenna. Oh, hi, Jenna. I have a question regarding my lymphatic system. What is the best way I should go about healing this area? Detoxing, etc. Can I do it without herbal supplements? Jenna. Well, yeah. You could do it without herbal supplements. I would say this. Don't make herbs an expensive issue for yourselves, because go to the teas or something, but if you can afford to do at least a month or 2 months herbs, you're going to get a lot done with them, so far beyond what you can with foods. I remember when we were talking about this, the last video I did yesterday, I think it was yesterday or the day before, and when Barry from California was here. If you guys know him, you'd be a big smile on your face. But he's got a major fruit groves. And, of course, Jensen used to go to his place and buy from him and stuff. And he was saying how poor food Florida has, and around here specifically, and it's just right on. So it's tough, It's really tough to find the foods and the quality of foods and the taste. But like Ian said, he went from vegetarian to fruitarian, and now he just craving the fruit and the sweetness and the deliciousness of the fruit, and that's what I'm craving too. Just give me a good watermelon. Just give me a good mango, and we just have to inspire our farmers to be more proud of what they produce. When you're doing something, it's God doing it, but it's also an individualized aspect but it's also what you're doing for the universe. Anything I build or make, I do it like I'm doing it for God, because I know I am. So if I build a house, I make sure I build that house as good as I can. I handpick all the lumber that I put in it for straightness. I do everything beyond. That's why I'm well known in this area to build really nice custom homes. And well built. Got so that the county inspector said, that's you. They just signed off because they already knew. I didn't compromise, and that's the way you do things. It's the Malarapa story. You want to do it, though, for the universe, not for yourself. You want to do it for the universe. Everything you do with quality in mind. This is your expression. Half-ass something, that's your expression, and that's how people see you. But when you do something right, and everything you do is good and right, and the best you can do, then that's a godly thing. And that's giving it, that's passing it forward. That's leaving someone with something better instead of the crap that's out there. So I always leave my things better than I leave them than I find them. Always make things better than when you find them. The best way to go after the lymph system, of course, we've been talking about this, sweetheart, for a long time, these vids, but the best way, of course, is the fruits, the astringent fruits, the astringent berries, and the melons. And, of course, that breeds hydration, alkalization, a base-balanced diet, but it also helps to trip up the kidneys to filter better. I would say that if you're going to do this without herbs, be prepared to do these 20, 30, 40-day grape fasts, lemon juice fasts, and stuff like that, because it's going to take that. Especially if you're chronic in your lymph system, it's going to take you using foods artfully and using that to detoxify yourself, moving into extended juice fast and then pulling back. Playing with that, digging deeper with the more astringent fruits is the only way that you're going to do this. Slow, because in the state of weakness of our adrenals and kidneys, it forced me to look for something that as a tool to help. But when you look at these tools were supplied by the one that created you. So those make them superior tools. And if you look at them in terms of our FDA, they're classified as foods, because herbs are basically foods. Now, every food also has an individual twist in the human body. The problem is that our herbs, our fruits, and our vegetables, which could be considered herbs, are very poor. Most of the botanicals, as opposed from the fruits and the berries and the melons and the salads, are non-hybrids, so they have a uniqueness to them. They have a power as they were created for. They have a consciousness. They're here for a purpose. You don't see a plant growing that has no purpose. You don't have an animal here that has no purpose. It's all in the scheme of things. So I'd go after that. But remember, your kidneys and adrenals are at the core of this system in terms of elimination. Your lymph nodes. Don't sit there and let your lymph nodes stay hard too long, because if your lymph nodes get hard, then the cells behind have no way of getting their waste to the kidneys or skin. So then you start blowing back interstitially, and that's where man's big problem is. That's where the tumors and everything else. If it's subcutaneously in the skin, at least your blowback's on the skin and you see all that. But internally, you just pop cysts and tumors, or swelling and stuff like this. So we view some of these Jenna videos on this, but make detox fun and simple, and you're feeling better, and your life becomes more simplistic, and everything about it, you can use your consciousness for other things instead of always focusing on your physical body. This thing is just, it's close. When you're used to using out of bodies and you're using your etheric bodies, your physical body becomes very inert. So it's not inert, but according to how well you can get things done through your mind or emotions, your body is very static in that way. It's just very limited in its ability to move, the time it takes to move. I get very frustrated moving my body because I can't move quick enough for how busy I am. So it's just a hindrance to me right now for how busy I am. But, you know, you got to wear one to be here. Now, let's see who this is. This is another Jennifer. I've been dealing with candida issues for a few months now since I took antibiotics for a kidney infection. Look at here, a kidney infection. Here, back to the old kidneys, aren't we? So, I mean, this you're seeing in our faces. Kidneys, 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 kidneys. But when you know and understand that your kidneys are the main eliminatives of your cellular waste, they become far, far, far more important than anyone ever realized. Because they control your life, your happiness, and your life or death. So they're big deals. And they do not like proteins. Look at all the bodybuilders. Look at all the athletes. What happens to them pumping proteins? They lose their kidneys. They lose their lower back, which is their kidneys. They lose, it just goes on and on and on. And from that then comes all the arthritis, particularly rheumatoid. You know, it's just that's the way it is. So when you take antibiotics, of course, it does make your fungus go crazy. So yeah, you always seem to get a fungal infection after use of an antibiotic. I'd get on a Parasite M, an antifungal, and detox myself and get these funguses out of the body. But you want to stay on Parasite M, you can take a dropper full of Parasite M every 3 or 4 hours, and use that for a couple of weeks, and that ought to clean out the bulk of that. But when you detoxify, you're going to detoxify fungal beds up, because deep within the body are fungus beds and stuff like that, and you're always going to bring them up as you detoxify. You feel like you're pretty clean, then it comes on the cravings, and you feel like so it's almost a constant process. But remember, your raw foods are antifungals. Even though they're carbon-based and they're fungal foods, fungus is only involved in fermentation. So how are you fermenting your foods? You've got to look to your adrenal glands and your cortisol levels, and you've got to look at your digestion and all this to determine whether you're fermenting your foods unrealistically. Now, the fact that we thought grains were healthy, notice how Purina and everybody else is backpedaling with that now, but we had this universal feeling that grains were the cat's meow. Now we realize most of them are acidic, and even if they're like quinoa and millet, they're still complex sugar. They're starch, and they're the worst. They're complex glucose. So this is just not a superior sugar. It is a need for insulin. It also has to run through the gamut of the sugar metabolism through the adrenals, and that's where the problem comes in. Most people's adrenal glands are down, their cortisol levels are down, their blood sugars are either down or up. They have sugar metabolism issues. They're eating starches which have so much sugar the body can't metabolize them, so fungus has to come in to help fermentation. This is natural processes, guys. Remove the fermentation factors that you're creating in your body. Eat simple foods, chew well, digest, eat slow, eat small meals more often, get your adrenal glands fixed, and you'll be good. Let me see here. Oh, I've been on a high-fruit vegan diet for about 3 months, eating mostly mono meals. Boy, that's a butt-kicking. Fruit for meals and salads for dinner. You're doing good. I have 1 bowel movement a day, and I would think you should have more. You're doing so good. I would think you should have 2 a day. So I think there's a little sluggishness there. Pick up your adrenals a little more there. I think that you're seeing a little sluggishness, because when you're that raw, you're going to have a couple of poops a day. Except if I eat watermelon, then I pass watermelon. Yeah, I'd be looking at my pancreas. Take a look at your eyes, and even if you didn't, you could use the pancreatic formula, the herbal pancreatic formula, for a couple bottles. That's 2 capsules 3 times a day would be for me, and then let that help to promote my pancreatic function and digestive function. And they have been watery, and what I eat the day before is visibly through my bowels. Oh wow, I should read more. Yeah, I'm going to work on your pancreas here, honey. So I would be chewing, I would be digesting in my mouth because I'm knowing my pancreas isn't doing it for me. It's not breaking down my foods. So I would eat smaller meals, I would relax, and I would super chew. I would let my digestion like you're digesting in your mouth first. Don't mix proteins and starch. Don't mix fruits with salads or anything else. Keep those mono meals very simple. But when you can't digest mono meals, you want to go into that pancreas. Now, if you were on fruits long enough, eventually the pancreas would fix itself probably. But no, that's the beauty of herbs. They don't cost that much. They're not like pharmaceuticals or anything. So get on the herbs for the pancreas and inspire pancreatic function. I just clean up my whole gut. I get my kidneys filtering. I detox myself. Get myself cleaned up a little bit here. Because you should be having a couple bowel movements a day, and then there's no way you should see undigested fruit and melon in your body. That's pancreatic. So that's a big deal here. Clean up your bowels, like the gentleman got the mucoid plaque and all that off his bowels, absolutely. If I eat tangerines, I see tangerine pieces in the toilet. Not good. Not good. I was thinking that maybe this was due to the high water content of the fruits. Well, it doesn't matter. You should digest them because you're talking about the easiest to digest foods on the planet, and you can't digest them. That's a serious problem. So you're going to go to the pancreas where you digest your carbohydrates. Because fruits are carbohydrates. What would you call your grains? Starch. You know, they're carbohydrates, but they're starch. Anything that's sugar chained or carbon chained is carbohydrates. Carbohydrates. But when you complex a structure of carbon, you get starch. And anytime you complex even base chemistry, it can make it acidic. Too much base even. So too much of anything, even a good thing, right? But when you look at the fruits and the berries and the melons, these are the natural foods your body's designed. If you have a salad once a day, okay, I eat salads, but they don't make me feel nothing like the fruits, berries, and melons. It's just that we can't get good stuff around here. So I'm always going to the vegetable kingdom here to try to survive because it's hard to survive on fruits. Now, I found a good source of good, at least for now, California, beautiful, large navel oranges, so I'm working on that because we don't have any good watermelon. I'm going to Georgia to get a whole bunch of watermelon because I'm craving good, sweet watermelon. I might even leave my body and never come back. If I find that right watermelon, just bury me with it. Oh, man. Ew. I'm just wondering if this is normal. Or if I have malabsorption. That's not malabsorption, that's maldigestion. And you could have, with this, you could have malabsorption as well. Look at your eye and see the state around your pupil. Do you see a lot of lymph? Do you see a brown ring immediately around the pupil? That would be malabsorption. Very possible you have both. But you've got to fix these issues. Remember, we've talked about this, and you guys are the only ones that really get that. Digestion, absorption, utilization. Hormones and steroids are essential to mineral or any other type of utilization of chemistry. And then the elimination of all the byproducts created in all the processes from digestion all the way around to ionization, oxidation, methylation, everything that deals with cells and their functionability, even their reproduction, everything that deals with them. Yeah, Jennifer, be glad to help you, honey. Your diet's good. You gotta get into that because you can't change. You're eating the simplest of foods to digest. Going back to complex foods to change that doesn't help the pancreas to work better. You got to have specific tools that'll go into that pancreas and wake up those cells, and that's why God created the herbs. And when we realize that, herbs weren't created to treat diseases. Man created the concept of diseases, not God. God created chemistry and physics. So when you understand that, the word diseases doesn't enter into the picture because that's man-made concepts of symptomology when they don't understand chemistry and chemistry's interaction and effects. When you don't understand that, then you tend to label diseases. But then you can treat them. Then you can set up states, and you can lobby these state legislatures to pass laws to block the freedoms of others. I mean, what they've done totally, if I was to expose this whole thing, you all would throw up. What they've done to you and limiting your freedom of expression is unbelievable. And they're just a medical community. So, Jenny, you get yourself taken care of here, honey. Get those digestive organs up and running. You're on the good diet, but I would use the herbs to come in on top. Get my kidneys. Make sure my kidneys are filtering. My adrenals are up. Check your blood pressures and all that. You get yourself rocking and rolling here. Let me see. This is to Jennifer. Whenever it goes to Jen W., this is a problem. Let me see here. Oh, this is George. Hello, George. Subject, ask you a YouTube question. Okay, message. I have used half a bottle of Amour thyroid, but I noticed in one of Dr. Morse's videos, he said don't use Amour thyroid because there is a chance that your thyroid will stop making its own repairs. Then in another video, he suggests to get New Zealand glandulars for thyroid, kidneys, and adrenals. Can you elaborate on this? Well, simply put, and it's something that Another wisdom that the medical doctors have taught us all is that you can't give your body any constituent that a gland within your body is supposed to produce for you. Specifically, your thyroid, and you've got calcitonin, you've got your thyroxins, your pre-thyroxins, your T3s and T4s. You've got your parathyroid and your parathormones. You've got all your ovaries. You've got your adrenals and all the steroids, 50 or at least 24 steroids just involved in mineral utilization, from iron to zinc to selenium. And if your adrenals are down, you can't take iron, zinc, or selenium, can you? No, because you're not utilizing it. Taking it doesn't change the utilization problem. You have to fix the gland that deals with utilization, and that's your adrenal glands, interestingly, huh? So you've got to go in and look at these tissues that do these performances and produce these for you. And we've learned that even the pancreas cannot take insulin. You take insulin. And the problem with that is you start losing your beta cells' production of it. So a type 2 then can go almost into a type 1 because you're using insulin to treat type 2, which is sugar metabolism problems, meaning any sugar is up for grabs on that one. With your type 1, you're talking about your inferior simple sugars of galactose and glucose. And that does require insulin as a hormone carrier through a cell wall. So anytime you see, and it just shows you how much your pancreas is an endoexocrine gland. You can't do it. So, Amour, and that's what I was telling you, Dr. Jensen thought Amour is a natural hormone. Problem is, it's still a hormone. So when you take that, your thyroid gets weaker and weaker and weaker. And, of course, most people that are on either Synthroid, levothyroxine, or Amour or whatever have nothing for calcitonin. Well, that's going to lose. And calcitonin, along with the parathyroid hormones, are involved in your calcium utilization and your borrowing of calcium, because your body is constantly borrowing and putting back calcium. And that's because we're playing the acid game here on this planet. And when you play the acid game, you're going to burn electrolytes at an uncanny level. When you're not consuming electrolytes, we call that dehydration. So what we're doing is we're eating such acidic foods that it's broken down our eliminative organs. Now the eliminative organs are not eliminating our own waste inside, which are acidic. So now we have acid on top of acid, and it's just become a nightmare. So when you go back to understanding all this, and you go back to the foods your body's designed to eat in the first place, you got to understand as vertebrates, we're designed a specific way. We're not designed to be a dog. We're not designed to be a cow, or we'd be a cow. We're designed to be a Homo sapien. And when you're designed to be a Homo sapien, you're not to say there's higher or lower than other things, because that's not true. In that way, we're all the same. But in terms of a species and the functionability of that species neurologically, emotionally, and every other way, we're the highest species on the planet, no question, in terms of the Homo sapien. Therefore, your diet should be of the highest order. You would not want to eat the shit that people are eating. And that's just what people are doing. They're eating dead animals, and they're cooking the hell out of them. They're cooking the hell out of everything. Throwing in spices to make up for the death of what they're eating. And it's just got us all. It's got us all. And we just have to go back and fix it. Thank God this is duality. And there isn't just degeneration, there's regeneration too. Allopathy just doesn't understand that. They're lost in the negative side. And it shows you that they're on the negative side. And so everything is degeneration. You guys know the good side of regeneration. But that's a specific side of chemistry. You can't regenerate on the acid side of chemistry, and that's most pharmaceuticals are acids. And of course, chemotherapy is the mother of all acids. You're going to continue to degenerate with that type of focus. When you understand that thyroids go down, pituitaries go down, adrenals go down originally, let's say pre-genetics, originally because of the lymph system, not because of the blood. You could ingest some real bad excital or neurotoxins, absolutely, and absolutely damage the body in that way, absolutely. But by far, the most blowback to a cell is its own waste. Its own waste. So if you want to get your thyroid up and working, first you want to start thinking about detoxifying. Get the mucus. Everybody feel the mucus from all the dairy products in the throat? You get a sore throat, you get the mucus. Bronchitis, you get the mucus. Pneumonia, you get the mucus. Sinus, you get the mucus. Well, guess what? Your thyroid gets full of mucus too. Your thyroid gets little polyps in them too from the same thing. So you just clean all of this out. Well, then the cells start running just like they should. If you want to enhance that, then you're going to use a glandular, which is an active electrical raw thyroid tissue from a living cow at the time. And it electrifies your thyroid. Hormones serve to shut it down. Glandulars serve to turn it back on. And that's how you do it. It's so much easier, so much better, and it doesn't take that long, and pretty soon you got your thyroid back. The same thing with all these goiters. I've never seen a case of goiters I couldn't get rid of. A lot of you know Roseanne Calabrese, one of many. One of many. Lymph system. But if you don't fix it, it's devastating, because death of the tissue is the end result if you don't fix things. Death of the cell. And your physical body runs by the cells that comprise it. So it's just common sense that you would want your cells healthy that run and make up the vehicle from which you're driving. If not, you're like some of these old cars you break down alongside of the road. Problem is, the way some mechanics fix you is not good. Let's see here. So I would definitely start out with the thyroid 150s. Depends how long you've been on Synthroid, levothyroxine, or Armour. If you haven't been on any of these too long, titration doesn't have to be too long. Titration is simply taking time to come off of it slowly. Steroids, particularly in hormones, are the ones you have to look at to do this, especially long-term use, because it does shut down your glands. So now the only reason you don't see symptoms is because they're giving you the hormone and steroid. In time, though, even taking it, you all know this because I've heard your stories over and over and over again, you start to see that you get the blowback of the symptoms again. This time it's serious because now you've literally triple weakened your glands. And now they're so much harder to get back. See what I'm saying? So when you do that for the sake of treating a symptom in the moment, that can be devastating to you. Now, with that said, in an emergency situation, of course you could give a steroid. If you're a spinal cord injury or something like that, it could save that spine. Yes, you would do something like that, but you would have short term, because then you would be running all the raw through there, all the herbs through there, which are all what? Anti-inflammatory. They act just like steroids. Your foods, when you're eating a raw food diet, you're taking steroids. Whenever you're consuming alkaline principles, you might as well take steroids, because they're the same thing. So they don't cause the symptoms of steroids. So all you have to do is move your diet to a base balanced diet, which is it's an alkaline predominant diet. You'll remove all this acid, remove the inflammation, hydrate the body, because these are electrolyte-rich foods. And now your body is on and electrical and alive. You don't kill it to try to make it healthy. That's not in the order of things. And when we have a modality that spends all this money just to get there, and schooling and everything else, and that's what they're doing, there's a serious problem in the way our society is and the state of affairs. That's why the future's coming. It's going to make some drastic changes. You notice right now, truth is raising its ugly little head. Be interesting to see how the Clintons get out of this one. Bill's not doing too good of a job, is he, trying to get out of this one? He's showing his senility. These guys are the narcissistic elitist people. You know, Clinton gave away all the national parks in the United States to the UN. Did you guys know that in America? You go up the Smoky Mountains, you'll see the UN on there. That's right. All the countries are making the UN the new head of the world order. And so Clinton, you wouldn't believe some of the things he did. You can't give our property to the United Nations. That's where these narcissistic bastards think they can do shit like that. I don't know, we're breeding them. And that's our problem. Our educational system has to turn itself around considerably, because we're breeding this thing. We're steeped in intellectualism, and we're suffering from lack of spirituality. You can't have high mind and no spirituality, because spirituality is consciousness. And if consciousness doesn't drive the mind, then the mind is the controller of consciousness, and that means you have no control over your world. Your mind is totally being conditioned by the music, by our governments, by our churches, by everyone that wants to have a piece of you and control you. People just can't let you be free and enjoy life, can they? That's the negative forces don't like that. But that's that duality again. That's why there's creation. But that's what I would do. I would regenerate my thyroid, use the glandulars to do that. They're safe. They're great to do that. And I would go in and fix why I have a thyroid problem. Go after the why, and you'll always find that why has its answer steeped in your lymphatic system. Then in another video, she just did New Zealand. Yeah, have fun with that, man. That's a fun thing to do. Getting healthy might be a tug on your self-discipline, but it's a joy and a bliss that comes into your life like no other. So what if you have to change the way you've been doing things all your life? Isn't it about time you get tired of doing the same thing over and over and over again? For those that are not, you'll probably have a quick stop back. But for those that are that way, this is your last trip here at this level. Get out of here. Start developing yourself and getting yourself all your affairs in order and helping others, and learn how to have far greater experiences that are much more nirvanic, happier. I don't know the words I can tell you. This is one of the lowest worlds out there right now, and you're stuck here. And there's only one way out. And you're the answer to that. This is Kim. Hey, Kim. Hi, I hope this is a way to reach the doc. It is. All right. I am gratefully coming through a healing crisis. I am gratefully coming through a healing crisis. Ooh. And I have a molar that has always bothered me and still does. The tooth is crowned. I can't remember if the root canal was done. The cracked root pinches the nerve when I bite down. Ow. Ow. Today my headaches was so bad on the left, including sinus and neck and shoulder pain. Well, that's probably why you lost your tooth. You know, the same reasons why we lose our teeth is and why they crack and everything else is why everything else cracks and everything else. It's all acid, dehydration, you know, the loss of calcium out of structure. All these things like this is an acid experience. And so you're just seeing that. Matter of fact, you can almost see it on the same side of the body, the same teeth problems, the same headaches, the same everything. But that would tell you what? And of course, if you go back here and you read what she's saying here, she said, "Today I've had a headache, was so bad on my left, including sinus and neck and shoulder pain." So what system is she experiencing in her detox? The one she's going after. She's going after her lymph system, and she's experiencing that system. So she's just, just worked that. Hot and cold applications, sweetheart, to this area. Probably not going to get there, probably already through this, but hot and cold applications to that area. Work those neurolymphatic points down the back. Get those kidneys opened up and filtering. That's going to be key to lessening your healing crisis. Some of these healing crises, I don't know if you're on herbs, but herbs lessen the healing crisis. That's all I can tell you. They really help. That's all I can say. It's just showing you how impacted you are in these areas. Once you break loose here, keep working on the GI tract and stuff, because this will help you lose as well. Get on the GI broom, stomach and bowel, get on the kidney and adrenal formulas, the lymphatic formulas, and start drawing and pulling and opening all your doors. Get a good cold and flu like going. If you can get a good cold and flu symptom going, that'll help relieve this pressure, headache, and everything, because all that mucus will start coming out. Or you could stop that and enjoy the pressure and the headache. Also, if you needed a relief from that, candle your ears. That might take some of that pressure and headache out of there. All a little bit of tools that we can use to help ourselves in these type of situations when we're walking back to Wellville from Hellville. Today, okay, let me see. I thought about the left kidney stones I was attempting to remove. There you go. God, man, I hate kidney stones. Holy crap, do I hate kidney stones. Had a bunch. So I know what you're going through there. But you see, we developing weak kidneys. My whole family's weak kidneys. It's in our faces, these beautiful little kidneys. Damn. Oh, man, so you got left kidney stones, huh? Well, geez, this is Kim. I don't know. I think a little easier, maybe with females passing stones in males, but boy, when a male passes a stone, it can be one, man. And it occurred to me that there was some sort of blockage between my brain and kidney on the left. Smart woman. So, what blockage could be from the kidney to the head? Well, you've got two systems that goes up there. Which one could it be? Blood or lymph? It's not blood. You wouldn't want it to be blood. Lymph. It's lymph. Stiff, tight. Oh, it's lymph. That's a lymph. It's blocked. But the blockage is kidney filtration. If your kidneys are filtering and you still see that, probably don't want to know what the blockage could be then, right? What do you guys think? What would be the blockage if your kidneys were filtering and you still you felt it, you just felt this whole side, breast, everything with just lymph nodes. Lymph nodes. And that's even more scary. More scary. Because you can only hold acids in tissue so long without damaging the tissues, correct? So scary stuff out there. There's some real scary stuff out there. And all I know is we know the best of how you can fix all that, but there's not perfection in anything right now, because we're coming against some serious issues in the human body. Serious acidic issues where a lot of destruction, a lot of mutation in genetics, a lot of dehydration, some very serious things. And there's only one way to walk them back to Wellville. Let me see here. Yeah, I did acupuncture on my gums and found a softer sort of sensitive spot. Well, I would take the Heal All tea. You could take the 3-lung tea, or you could mix the two. and make yourself some tea. Let it cool down to skin temperature. Take a cup. I'll get you 2 cups. Take a cup. Just hold it for a while. Maybe sit out on the porch and enjoy the indirect sunlighting. You know, look at the beauty. Hold it in your mouth and let some drawing action happen there, and some healing action. Spit it out and take another. You could swallow it. That's okay. But I would probably spit it out for a while, and then swallow some. You let that. It's a healing tea, but it's also a little pulling because it has plantain. So a little pulling on that gum would be healthy for you, because that's part of the problem. If you want to try to attempt to fix anything like that, you have to get these gums and these tissues into an alkaline balance. And that, of course, all these lymph nodes have to come clean. You have to clean your mouth alkalinity. Now, you could use some bicarbonate washes, some baking soda, aluminum-free baking soda mouthwashes. Keep that mouth alkaline. Keep that mouth alkaline. Brushing and flossing produce no blood or inflammation. That's good. That's good. I proceeded with deep acupuncture until the gums began to bleed. My headache began to fade. Well, again, this all comes out of the annals of acidosis and lymph and all the mucus and all this stuff that builds up and dehydrates, that inflames the human body. But keep it simple, because, again, if you look at those that went to Harvard and all these medical schools, they don't even know how to tell you what anything causes. They don't know how to cure anything. They only know how to treat symptoms with pharmaceuticals. Not a real high order of expression of healing arts for the amount of money and the amount of education you spend to do it. So not being mean and being real. And we have serious, serious problems because of that modality. So all the good medical doctors come over here. Let's start healing people up the right way. We'll all work together. Those that maintain their narcissism will get the blowback. That's all I can tell you. Let's see what I got here. Well, this is kind of a long one, so I'm going to try to get through that. Oh, wait a minute here. Let me see here. Can you put this one at the top of the YouTube question pile? This is a great case, and he's not a member. I want Robert to really touch on this due to the length of time she's been on a water fast. Please send back to Jen W. Okay. All right. Let's see. Where'd you go? Where'd you go? Somebody walked out with you. I found another. Okay, let's see what this case is. This was sent on 4/29 from Bobby. All right. It says, I've been watching Dr. Morse's YouTube videos for over a month. They're absolutely fantastic. I also have read Dr. Morse's book a couple of times. That's pretty good. Thanks, honey. I will join ASAP. Just to finish my story, read my wife. Excuse me just a minute, guys. Wait a minute. Let me go over here. This is the day before. Okay, so let's look at this. This is, Bobby sent this. It's General Health Inquiry. Dear Dr. Morse, I'm writing you from South Africa. Sorry to trouble you. You're not troubling me. Are you kidding? That's why I'm doing this, is to help people like you. You know, don't be sorry. I'm here for you, bro. Really. My wife had ovarian cancer 6 years ago. She had 6 months of 6 rounds of chemo and underwent surgery to remove her ovaries and the tumors. Unfortunately, it looks like it's come back again. Well, let's look at that, because this kind of statement is about how we think of things. First of all, the medical doctors went in. They started destroying healthy cells and already destroyed cells with chemo. So what they did was create a mess inside by destroying all these cells. Because chemo now doesn't remove the cells they just destroyed. And of course, saturated interstitial fluid with chemo can be around for a long time, continuing to blow on cells. So the inflammatory process, these hot spots, will park up everywhere because chemo has now saturated your interstitial spaces between all your cells. So you have this high battery acid-like or Adrenal-like acid stuck all around all your cells, burning on them. Those cells that have lost the phospholipids, eventually, boom, they're gone. So then you got these spots popping up all over the place. So in effect, the medical doctors have created more cancer in you, more damage to you by using chemo. They're not helping anybody, they're killing. If it just happens that you have strong genes and they break that tumor down, then they use the fact that you're in remission. If you go over 5 years, you're one of the few lucky, blessed ones that lasted 5 to 6 years. But you fall in a 6 percentile ratio. Not an 80, not a 60, a 6%. If anybody thinks for 1 minute that you're getting 80%, 60% success rate with chemo, you are smoking some bad stuff in the back room. These are bald-faced lies. Even the FDA admits 6%. Oncology, 6%. Cancer Citizens of America, 6%. They can lie all they want, but truth is truth. So your wife will let him saturate her body with chemo, and of course you're going to kill more cells. It's not back, it's still in her killing. And that's what's going on. It's not coming back, it's still there. Just because one spot's been removed, it's killing all the other spots because they didn't just chemo the spot they removed, they chemoed the whole body head to toe. I mean, this is such a crime that you just can't imagine it. Because we're so dumbed down to accept it. Once you guys don't dumb down anymore, and you guys are the ones that are not being dumbed down, I'm bringing you up. Then it's shocking. Then in a more modern time, you would have this dark agey practice of saturating people's acidic bodies with hotter acids in some kind of oxymoron thought of trying to kill something that doesn't exist. It becomes really insane when you really look at it, and you really understand it, and you really think about it. So your wife has just never fixed the problem, my friend, and now she's got to go back and fix the problem. Because if she doesn't fix the problem, there's no hope. There's no hope for anybody that doesn't fix the problem, that continues to treat the symptom. There's no hope. And it just gets worse. And more spots and more places because it's a systemic problem in the first place. They just dubbed it ovarian cancer, but that's a lymph system that's backed up head to toe. It's just a matter of time to where all the other weaker places pop up. This is all it is. So they removed her ovaries, blah, 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 blah. Unfortunately, it looks like it came back again. Her cancer 125, that's CA 125 markers, have gone to 57. Okay, generally these are, you don't want more than 30, probably in your CA 125s, closer down to 3, the lower would be better, but, So 57 is not astronomically high, but it is getting way too high. And look, she doesn't have ovaries. Anyway, you got to go back and fix this problem. So what are you going to do? You're going to go back to the kidneys, the adrenal glands, the lymph system, what these videos are all about and have been all about. And a lot of you guys have gotten so much success not only on yourselves, but with others that there's no question anymore. It's not just coming from me. All you guys have proved it. And it's just neat to see what all's going on out there. She doesn't want to do chemo. You'll lose your wife if you keep doing chemo, my friend. Let's be truthful. Let's face facts here. You love your wife. You want to keep your wife, then she's got to fix this problem. She's got to go into the kidneys, get her kidneys filtering, pee in jars, look at your urine, be proactive. And get her understand the lymph system. Or love her what you can, because you go back and you keep going to that medical thinking you have some hope. These are false hopes. And these guys give you false hopes. Some of them are truthful. But when you have the diagnosis of cancer and you think your death is at hand, you're only buying into their ridiculous story. All of these things are very curable. Not cancer or disease, because no one cures cancer or disease, right? But if you have tumors and your cells are being broken down, you can fix all that. And how do you fix something like that? By reversing how you're creating it. It's that simple. Well, how do you create something like that? Look at what you eat, look at what you drink, look at what you breathe, and look at what you put on your skin. Now, if I was her, I would jump on a grape fast. Since she did the chemo and all this stuff, you got to get the chemo out or she's going to still burn with the chemo. So you got to get the chemo out of her. So detox her. That's the only way you're going to win this one is detox her. Get those kidneys filtering, get her, especially her adrenals up, because this was an ovarian issue. That's right there. So you want to get those kidneys filtering big time. Big time. Get this going and you'll be successful. I would put her on a grape fast, 10, whatever days she can do. Then a lemon juice fast and then play with that. Then just, play with your diet. But use the fruits, berries, and melons to detox deeper. Your vegetables to slow up. She doesn't want to do chemo, neither do I want her to. I've held off the doctors. I took her to a natural hygienic doctor here in South Africa called Dr. Dimitri. I've heard of him, I think. They ran out of space. They just ran out of space. I don't know what that is. Anyway, it's enough to say that go get your wife well, man. You got the help here from the clinic. And you can get yourself, you can turn your wife right around with this. Now let's see what else we've got over here. I took her to this natural hygienic doctor here in South Africa. He's a natural hygienic doctor. Got that? She went on a water fast for 28 days, and after 3 weeks of fasting, her markers came down from 53 to 39. See what I'm talking about? You keep going. But it isn't just about markers. It isn't just about the stats. It's about what's going on in there. These stats can show you, but still, it's what's going on in there. Get her kidneys filtering. You know more than the natural hygienic doctor. You know about herbs. You know how to use them to get these jobs done. So get her on these herbs. Get her on herbs for the kidneys, herbs for the lymph system. Get out those adrenals and perk that up, and you'll bring that marker down even faster. But this is the way you're doing it. That's how you're bringing them down. But what's that mean? That means you're eliminating these acids and these damaged cells out of the body. She's gone completely raw as per the doctor's instructions. She has a fruit for breakfast, salad for lunch, and a fruit for dinner. Right on. Now you're going to save your wife. The problem is that she's been back 2 weeks from the fast, and now her marker shot up to 57. You have to fix the kidneys. He doesn't know that. You have to get her kidneys filtering and the adrenal glands up to get that accomplished for this to hold. Start hydrating. Quit focusing on the numbers. Focus on the act of detoxification and the process. Enjoy it. Go have fun. Have her relax. Have her start fixing herself in all these ways. Stay with the same diet. Get on the herbs, kidneys, the endocrine glands. Clean up the GI tract. That's how you keep these numbers, these stats down. Just fasting without fixing it doesn't do anything but just what you see here. Brings down the numbers that look good, they pop right back up. Because effectively you haven't done anything but move lymph around a little bit, because if you're not filtering, fasting doesn't always help that. Now it has in some cases. We've seen people that have fasted get tons of sediment out after the fast. So it is good, but the sediment can't even get to the kidneys from the fast. It's just the lymph nodes again. Now let's see. So we are all confused. Don't be confused. You've got to fix the body in the right way. You can't just put it on raw foods. You have to understand what system is down and what all tissues are attached to this system and go after that too. That's why I love the herbs. And a good example of showing this, why just food alone anymore is not powerful enough. You want tissue-specific action. Tissue-specific action is only found in botanicals, in my opinion. Well, I say that, and that fruits, they always say the berries are for the glands, the fruits are for the nervous systems. So you have that out there. I've kept the medical doctors at bay for the last 6 weeks now. Well, if she's a full-grown woman, who cares? They want to do surgery and chemo. Well, that's all they know. But you want a wife, right? So let me say, Bobby, if you want a wife, there's only one way to keep the wife, and that is to get her healthy. Don't be upset that the markers move back on you. That's common stuff. Matter of fact, they can go up even more yet. Don't freak out and don't treat the markers or you're going to lose your wife. Go after why. What do those markers represent and why? It's like any other enzyme or protein markers. They represent tissues that are breaking down. Okay, so what tissues are breaking down? Her ovaries are gone. It could be the ovaries, right? But she has a whole pelvic area. She has a vaginal wall. She has a lot of other tissue there. Plus, the lymph system is head to toe, so she can break down anywhere. So you want to address this properly in the right way, and that will lead you right into well, Bill. Keep that wife of yours around. Gosh, there's so much. What's this one? God, there's so much. You write so many good questions. I love all your questions and stuff. It's just getting time to get to them. Oh, this is called help. Oh, what's this one? Okay, this is from R.E. Thank you for all you do and trying to help out. Thank you so much. A friend of mine was diagnosed with lupus 5 years ago. Lupus, Lyme, fibromyalgia, systemic acidosis, and it's not fun. It's systemically painful, and no one's happy with it. And of course, it can precede depression and everything else because one, your adrenals are down, so there's your anxieties, and two, generally the parathyroid goes down in all this, and of course, then you start getting the calcifications and the depressions and things like that. All right, lupus 6-year-old. Ever since then, and because of the lupus, he has had nerve damage to the feet, removal of both knees, 1 foot of intestines removed, heart not beating correctly, pain in hands, also nerve damage, both eyes have cataracts, operation from intestine did not heal correctly, now has a supersized hernia. Surgery of fixing the hernia is scheduled for next month in May. Again, all this because of the autoimmune disease called lupus. Now forgive me, R.E., but lupus is a medical doctor thinking. Lupus, it doesn't matter whether you're dealing in virals, what they think is virals, bacterials, or anything like that. Lupus, Lyme's, notice they can't cure even when they address them. Because this is the lymph system. Think about culturing mediums or mediums from which these type of factors that they look at would be involved with. But they're not the problem. The terrain is the problem. So this is very important because look at just what you're saying here. This is all systemic acidosis, as lupus is. But lupus and Lyme's and fibromyalgia, or all three, can be lumped into the same thing. Systemic acidosis. The problem is some have sulfur involvement where you have heavy fungus and others don't. Nerve damage to the feet. What type of chemistry causes nerve damage? Acid type of chemistry, correct? And of course, acid crystals settle under the bottom of the feet. Now, you could use reflexology to help move all that around. You could use foot baths to try to pull some of those acids out of the bottom of the feet. But ultimately, it's what system that has to deal with this. And everywhere you deal with these symptoms, you're going to see this. All right, removal of both knees. The virals didn't do that unless what? You have weaknesses, genetic weaknesses in these areas. What would take out the knees? Acids. And what tissues would be down to cause all these problems? The kidneys. The same system took all this down, guys. The same lymphatic system took every one of these things down. The nervous system in the feet. Removal of both knees. The hips are next. The 1 foot of intestine. There you go. Lymph took care of that one for you. So this is a very serious, the heart, of course, there's the heart. So you have acidosis in the heart. You need calcium for good nerve impulses. So this is going to create arrhythmias and all kinds of problems with that. Of course, in congestive heart failure from the lymph system. So there's going to squeeze and cause arrhythmias from that. You get the mitral valves and stuff breaking down. Looky here, pain in hands and nerve damage. Of course, acids are tearing down the nervous system. Both eyes have cataracts. Cataracts are cholesterol, so the body's been in defense mode for a lot of years trying to deal with this acidosis, and so cholesterol problems. If you have cataracts, let me give you another one that you haven't put on here. He's probably plaqued up all in the brain and maybe in the coronaries. So there's another case for a stroke or heart attack just waiting to happen here. Operation from intestines did not heal correctly. Well, it's not the surgeon's fault per se, unless he left something in there. He did lousy surgery. It's because he went into a highly acidic medium, because this person is extreme on the acid side. So this surgeon went into a highly acidic medium. Things don't heal in acidic medium. That's a given. Some half-ass heal, but generally you see heavy scar tissue and adhesions, because that's how the body's trying to heal a highly inflamed area. If once you get how simple this is, you can apply those principles everywhere, and it'll help you to understand all these cases and how simple they are to understand. And you don't blame them on a disease, because you'll never find the answers to that. And this is a systemic hit from head to toe. This is serious. This guy's in serious trouble. Now, he got a hernia from that. What does that tell you? What's one thing you can count on here? Parathyroid. So his connective tissue is weak. So he has herniated tissue. They're going to probably use a mesh or something on him, but that fixes it. And of course, those meshes in the earlier years were toxic and caused a lot of cancer. So this is part of the problems. Nothing goes in you is real healthy that repairs you. So what are you going to do with this guy? You're going to first start on the system that he's having trouble on. You're first going to start right where he's having all these cases. You're going to start on the lymph system. And where does that start? Kidneys. You're going to go into his kidneys and get them filtering. So you're going to go, the herbs, your kidney gland, whatever you're going to use, you're going onto those kidneys. Then you're going to go with the adrenals on top, right? Because you need the steroids to be helpful for anti-inflammatory purposes and help back down cholesterol. So you want to bring up those steroids. How do you bring up steroids in the adrenal glands? You make the adrenal gland healthy. You first start out with the adrenal gland protomorphogen or glandular, which will then excite the adrenals to turn on with all the electrical foods and other herbs that are going to turn the adrenals on. And then you can also use herbs for the adrenals. Berries are perfect for adrenals. So you're turning those on, which will then turn on the kidneys as well. So then, of course, to do all this, you're consuming raw foods, electrical and chemically alive foods. So here comes the electricity, here comes the hydration of all these dehydrated interstitial levels. All these acids then start coming out of the body through the kidneys and skin. Then anything that's been damaged can rebuild itself. But not until. And this is a good example in surgery why this happened. Now, it wasn't the surgeon's fault. He's just going in an area that you've made highly acidic, trying to help you fix it. And the fact that it's highly acidic, that's your fault, or the person's fault that did this, But it's unconscious because we live in an unconscious world. The consciousness here, the awareness here is very, very low. And so you praise killing machines. That's how low we are. We're dumbed down real bad here. All these things can be fixed, but not with any treatment-based thinking. This will just make this man have a horrible, horrible life. And it's already a horrible life. Both knees replaced. I take it they were replaced. Foot of intestines, so there's malabsorption with this case. You know that because it's a lymph system in the wall. So you knew there went the bowels right there. So you can see all of these things. So I put him on a heart formula only to keep strengthening that heart up, but you want to go to the lymph system. What are you going to do to help the nerve damage? I'm going to go upper circuit, brain, and nerve, and you could do upper and lower circulation. This is what I would do. If it was me, I would do upper and lower circulation, brain and nerve number 2. That's just to address the neuropathies and all that kind of stuff. Now, I'm going to go right into the cause of this problem. I'm going to go into the kidneys. I'm going to go into the adrenal glands. I'm going to get those kidneys filtering. I'm going to bring in hydrating foods, alkaline foods. Therefore, you have this. You have proper ionization. You have proper alkalization and proper elimination. I'm going to kick up and get this guy to sweat. I'm going to open up all avenues of elimination. Vital. Vital, vital, vital. Also, I'm going to give a parathyroid glandular about 2 bottles, 1-3 times a day, and I'm going to give the Bones formula or the superfood blend number 2, which calcium in it is out the roof. And by the way, I got rid of hemp seed, chia seed, they're too bitter, and I put in a berry blend or a fruit blend, which is also going to end itself up in the baby infant formula. I've been looking for a good blend, and I found one, and should make that superfood blend 2 really tasty. And you got the power of fruit power in there. What else am I going to do here? Cataracts. Well, you got to move lymph to get them out of there, but I would use the eye wash, both topically and internally. But this is a lymphatic problem, but you can get some relief from that. But I can tell you, the time you see cataracts, what else is plaqued? Your cerebral arteries and veins. You really want to get upper circuit brain and nerve, because you want to protect this person from stroking or heart attack. Because once you see cataract, you know that cholesterol. Once you see a highly acidic medium where surgery in itself doesn't heal, you know that they're going to lose a lot of calcium and a lot of cholesterol to this, because it's the body's safety mechanism to fight acidosis when the adrenal steroids are low. And this is what you're seeing happen. But on the side of that, you lose the knees, you lose the joints, you lose the nerve impulses, you lose. So he lost his knees, he lost everything in the body's attempt to save itself. Rebuild this guy. But the only way you can rebuild this guy is get these acids on the run. And the only way you're going to get the acids on the run is kick up the adrenals and the kidneys to start filtering and hydrate this body to get everything moving. You can enhance the neuropathies, and you can fix all that. He doesn't have to live with nerve pain and nerve damage all his life. Neuropathies will rebuild themselves. The nervous system will rebuild itself, but you need high fruits, berries, and melons to do it. All of this can save and come out of this guy. His endocrinologist told him he has no adrenal function. Well, that might be a good endocrinologist. So, adrenal, 400 milligrams glandular, what I would do, 1 at least 3 times a day, if not 2. What's his blood pressure? Your adrenal power will be expressed through, especially the neurotransmitter power. It doesn't look at the steroid, but your cortisols, you can look at your blood sugar for that one. If your blood sugar is pretty well stable, you can pretty assume you have fairly even amounts of cortisol. But to have a cataract shows low cortisol levels, so this guy could have blood sugar problems and just don't even know it. Lupus is not an autoimmune problem, nothing. There's no such thing. It doesn't exist, and the sooner you guys get that out of your head, the better off you'll be. These guys only use that word because they don't understand causative factors. This is a lymph system in bad shape, and this guy can lose his hips next. And it just keeps going. You just keep losing tissue. Because acids destroy cells. So this is just what you're seeing. It's a highly acidic individual, and the adrenals are a big factor here. So if the endocrinologist thinks the adrenals are down, that's serious. For the past 4 years, he's been on 72 hours prednisone. Well, there was a positive side to this endocrinologist. Now enter the negative side. The negative side to this is they put him on prednisone. It helps him the symptoms off, that's for sure. But for the sake of staying in Hellville, but locking the key to the door, or locking the lock to the door to get out. This is what these steroids will do, especially synthetic steroids. They put you in jail, lock the door, and take the key with them. Now you can get yourself in serious trouble using these. Use foods as steroids. Use herbs as steroids. Use glandulars as steroids. Anything that's base is a steroid, basically. It's an anti-inflammatory. But you want a base, balanced steroid. That's the only way to get this. You can use artificial steroids, but he'll lose his adrenals even more. I mean, this doc already said he had no adrenal function. Then he puts him on a steroid, which takes the adrenal function down even more. No, glandulars, much better. I mean, when we're arguing over glandulars and synthetic steroids, guess which one's got to win, guys? I mean, you're talking about those of you that want to help others and help yourselves. You have to accept that you can't live in the purity worlds too much. You're not in one right now. This whole first year, they changed it to Hydrocortisone, same thing. You know, you want to get him away from these. But to get him away from these now, you got to get him on a raw food diet. You might have to interject some steamed vegetables. I would also tell you this, stay away from the acid fruits. That's your oranges and grapefruits and lemons and stuff like that for a while. Hover at your subacid. That's your grapes, your apples, your peaches, your pears, your mangoes. Stay in that subacid category for the pain reason. But you got to go. He's on alendronate sodium, whatever that is. I don't know what that's for. He's on a lot of drugs I can't even pronounce here, guys. He's on sulfur compounds. He's on all kinds of crap. He's on blood pressure meds. He's on magnesium oxide. God, he's on a lot of things. He is in agreement with a full detox every 6 hours, but first off, with getting his kidneys and adrenals to function, filter correctly, and fully... Well, that's it. I mean, you've got to go in that way. You know what? If he's on one of these practitioners here, we'll look all these up and show you what you can use and what you can't use. You know, I mean, or you can look them up and determine anything that's a steroid, that's an anti-inflammatory, you're going to have to titrate off of it. You know, but remember, at the meantime, you're coming in. These medical doctors sometimes get me because they think we're stupid, and that's an insult to them too. Because let me tell you, we're not stupid. We're going to help you because you're the one that has to do this. Come off steroids, not us. We have no right to tell you or to help you to do that. I mean, we can give you advice so you're smart in how to do that, but that's a medical doctor thing. But there's only one way to do that properly, and that's come off slowly, while we're also backing it up with the power to the adrenals, the power to the kidneys, and the power to the lymph system and hydration. We're not just sitting there, come off of them. We're helping you to fix why you're even on them for the first place, is which what the medical doctors should have been doing, not their field. And they have to understand this. You can't have a narcissism that you're the only healer in the world and that you cover all bases. That's bull crap. My question is, how to take the adrenal glandular so he may wean himself off. I knew you knew that. So start taking it. Start taking it and then go off. This is what I would do. This is the only way I can give you advice. And the only way I would do it. If it was me and I come to the realization that, I'm on something that has the potential, not have the potential, that is making me worse and worse and worse. And when the blowback hits, not fun. For those of you that know this story, and many of you I know personally know this story of steroids. Hildy, all you guys, you know the story of steroids and what it did to you. Nothing ever good comes of prolonged use of steroids. It is not good. Look at Jerry Lee Lewis. He can't hardly breathe from it because it's brought his adrenals down to nothing. Well, that's the autonomic, and of course then breathing and heart pumping is two things you're going to suffer with. Not worth it when this is totally fixable and everything can be done well through the natural way of doing these things. So I've used the adrenal gland, probably do the 400 milligrams. I'd probably either start out with 1 3 times a day or 2 3 times a day, probably 1 3 times a day. At the same time, I'm going to back up a little bit on my steroid use. I'm going to either go half dosages or I'm going to go every other day, see if my body will accept that change. If you don't and you go cold turkey, your lymph system is going to blow up. You're going to see skin problems and everything else because prednisone locks all this sewage in the body. Thank you, Doc. Thank you for locking this shit in me that I'm trying to get out that's breaking me down. These acids. I mean, you have to understand, we have to get strong on this in time because this is a gruesome thing that's going on here. So that's what I would do. At the same time, you're also bringing in anti-inflammatory power, anti-acid power, steroid power through what? Your fruits, your berries, your melons, and your salads. They act as anti-acids too, so they're anti-inflammatories too. It's all good. And everything you're doing, you're opening up the kidneys. That's another thing. You're going after the kidneys. When you're going after the adrenals, you go after the kidneys with them. So where there's an adrenal formula, there should be 2 kidney formulas. 1 capsule, 1 liquid. And you might start with 1 lymphatic formula, but end up with 2. 1 capsule, 1 liquid. because that's the system you're after with this, is the lymph system. That's the system that deals with inflammation, acids. That's your immune system. That's your sewer system. That's your lipid transport system. And Rod, have fun doing this. This guy, your friend, you'll take care of him and get him fixed up. We'll be glad to help you. We've got plenty of counselors, more on the way. And let me tell you, we're all trying to work from one voice. You know, Marcy's a little different in her thinking. I know she did a video on death. I've been letting her do some videos here. I don't know if you guys like them. You'll let me know. I don't know whether to, or what. Each of us see death a little differently. I didn't even look at her video on that yet, so I don't know exactly how she approached that. She's very Christian in her thinking. But one has to learn that these sort of things, there is no such thing as death. It doesn't exist. It's just transition. You're transitioning from one place to another place, from one area of activity to another. There is no death of atoms. There's no destruction of that. Of course, man likes to bust them. Irina. Hello, Dr. Morse. I'm so into your videos. Oh, thanks. Thanks. I know, some of these videos, I do get a little quirky and a little tough in them, but I'm telling you, there's a lot of people in trouble right now. And you guys are the ones with the answers to this. And the help we need to give this world is vital. And this understanding of acids in the lymph system and the ridiculousness of diseases and all this stuff, it's just got to all filter down and let a new day come up where we have smiles on our faces, there's no more pain, and that the journey here, although still up and down, isn't so devastating. I mean, this is a hellhole right now. And the mutation of the human bodies, I mean, it's a mess. So we need to straighten things up a little bit. That's all this is lifting up man's awareness so he can have a happier, more fun experience, and so can everything around him. Because we're bringing down everything around us. We're experimenting on animals. With toxic chemicals and stuff. I mean, what we do to animals is, I don't know where this comes from. I mean, it's really low stuff, and it's really of the negative side. So the negative forces are very strong, but this is the Kali Yuga. So all I've got to say is that everything is the way it should be, but you just have to learn and grow from it. It's hard not to emotionally label something and mentally label something, good, bad, whatever, but God doesn't label. That pure consciousness hasn't got a label on it. It just is. Just like everything, life just springs forth. And it's augmented and changed as consciousness grows. It uses itself to change itself. It's just it's amazing when you look at it all. I think we had a good level 1, so when those videos come out, if you can, for those, we'll give you a good discount for those that have bought them before. I think you're going to like them. I was looking for an answer to my question, but got lost in the ocean of your videos. You funny guy. I love that. You got lost in the ocean of love and mercy, didn't you? You something else. Please, can you tell me what to look for, or maybe you can tell? Well, that's the problem, and you're right about those with the ocean of videos. All I know is just start looking backwards. I don't know. We're supposed to, some guy was helping us to correlate those and have a table of contents. I'm not sure where that table of contents is. Guys, I'm so busy. I haven't got time. I trust Chris and all those guys to put this up right, so can't tell you. What do you want to navigate for? And find out where that table of contents, and that might help you. Why I got gray so suddenly and so quick. What is happening to people? Well, they're getting rapidly more acidic. My major change came when I poisoned myself. My hair almost turned white overnight from quinine, but it was peaking. So, that's all acidosis and dehydration. Don't fool ourselves. Even me, we fight that. And it's just, when you see graying of hair, you're seeing dehydration and acidosis. It's when you see the loss of it that's even worse, balding. Because then you're so dehydrated and everything's becoming acidic there. And of course, shortly after that, you see the dementias and the memory problems and everything else because the blowback is all up in the CNS. And the thing that worries me is there's so many 20 and 30 and 40-year-old baldings. And then the ladies are starting to go bald. And it's just, we're getting very, very acidic, and so is the planet. And there's only one way to change it. Because when it is chemistry, there's only one side to turn to. There's only one side to turn to. It's not like we have a lot of different variances that we have to deal with. Anyway, to get back, well, what others happening to people is the stress. The stress of governments taking our freedoms away, the stress of all the world banking system and what they've done to us. All the regulations that are going in this country are, you know, they can't get out of the way of themselves. So people can't even buy houses anymore in this country. The regulations are so strict and ridiculous over nothing. So it's just, it's getting real bad out there, but it's important that it does to demonstrate the overuse of the mind and to teach at this level what happens when you rely on the mind and not spirituality too much. And we're just seeing the blowback of what happens to refining the mind without the spirituality, without being conscious behind it. And then you're just seeing it's out of control. But the mind is out of control unless you control it. And nobody's wanting to control their minds out there because they're not taught to. So minds are out of control out there. Only the spiritual masters are the one trying to get you to control your mind and get you to understand that the mind is the problem. The physical world is just the blowback from that. This is the effect of the mind here. That's all you're seeing. There's very little creating here at this level. It starts with the mind and moves through emotions and then to this plane. So it's just that sort of thing that you're seeing here. Anyway, getting back to my hair color. Well, my dad, then we lost my sister. Well, my dad, then we lost my sister. Became gray overnight. I lost my baby boy. Nothing. What? But around my 39th birthday, my hair started to lose color about 80 to 85%. And I am 57 now, 98% gray. Oh, this is a female. This is Irina. Oh, honey. Guess where I'm going to say? Upper circ, brain, and nerve. Upper circ, brain, and nerve. Upper circ, brain, and nerve. However, what are we going to go after? We're going to go after our lymphatic system. We're going after our blood system by improving our dietary choices. We're bringing hydration. We're bringing alkaline chemistry, which brings in regeneration and hydration, which increases circulation to hair follicles and every other tissue. We're going to help that by using circulation herbal formulas, which will increase even more circulatory issues to the cells of the head, but it will increase them to all parts of the body. Then we're also fixing our kidneys to start filtering so we can increase the removal of acids that are being held back by a very sluggish or ineffective lymphatic system. So we're going to get this system hydrated, filtrated, and now all your tissues can rebuild, your hair color can come back. You know, we see this all the time in our clinic. People come back and say, look, I got my hair color back. I haven't kept myself on upper circulation or use of my herbs. I go in and out of that all the time. It just is when you get so busy, you don't take care of yourself as much. It is just the truth of things, you know. But there's a night time's coming. This is another help me. This is PH Alex. I discovered your YouTube channel, and that gave me a lot of hope. Good deal, my friend. I hope so. I hope it gave you all the hope in the world, because there's no hope out there, and that's ridiculous. There's all hope in the world. We don't have anything around here of no hope. I mean, if you start employing around here, all our new employees, we're up to about 21 or so now. When our employees come in, they start seeing all this. They see all the clients and the blowback and how they're all getting well, how they're all getting their tumors, and all the reports of no cancer left anymore. It changes you. You don't live in the world of no hope anymore, because our clinic doesn't have that in it. So people in here, we don't have that no hope thing. People are coming in here happy, getting better, and everything else. We don't see that no hope thing. Now, there are some of you that are advanced. It's going to take you a little while to fix these things. Don't make that as a no hope thing and that you're impossible to fix, because that's not true.
No!
Now, I try to listen with your video translation. This individual cant is not in English. I saw that you did a lot of videos on baldness. I get depressed because of that. I'm only 23. This is, see, this is, look, this is tied right into the other one. Isn't that, I just grabbed these off of Chris's rack up there. He gets them and saves them for me. Ooh, I have eyes. There's so many questions. Good questions, my God. All right. I get depressed, but I can understand that. This guy's only 23 years old, and I'm seeing this all over the place, and this is scaring me too. I see all these young people with such kidney and adrenal problems. It's shattering, because then we have the neurological problems. But, well, no, it's not just the lymphatic system, it's the digestive system as well. The pancreas and some of these young people are not functioning well, so they're not digesting well. Their bowels are messes. I mean, you young guys and gals, you have some work to do to get well. And I have to tell you, my generation, the generation before, we weren't looking. I mean, I've been out there plugging, but I tell you, most of our generations were living in a high life, and not realizing and not watching and making people accountable, including governments and medicals and things like this. We just said, here, go ahead and put these in. We trust you. There is no more trusting nothing. You trust nothing on this planet. Don't even trust what I'm saying. Take it on and experiment. At least you can't get hurt eating properly and taking herbs. You can kill yourself taking pharmaceuticals. So it's how you choose to treat yourself that determines your experience, doesn't it? But don't get depressed, my man, because you can fix all this, okay? So don't get depressed. It's a matter of time. You're in a good crowd, because there's a crowd of you. I mean, a crowd of you in the 20s that are balding. I lost confidence in me. Don't lose confidence in you, my friend. It's not you with the problem. It's your body. Separate you from your body. You don't have the problem. Your physical body does. Well, you just go in and fix it. These are all fixable things. You have to be above and beyond your bodies and realize you're the master of your own worlds. You just have to need the knowledge to do it. Well, the masters are here to help you with that. And, of course, you're being fed knowledge through these videos and through your nightly dreams and things like this, because we're all working with you on your inner, too. You all know that. You see me in there. You see the other spiritual beings, too, don't you? Absolutely. So there's a bunch of us out there helping. And some of you are out there helping. You all have bodies too, remember? And don't lose confidence, my friend. You're a good egg. It's just that your body, and you can fix your body. And you'll fix your body, and it'll be as beautiful as you want it to be. You can control that completely. I'm giving you the tools to control this, and I've been doing it through this whole video. What are your tips for activation of hair? Making a massage of, it goes on and on. No. Psyllium? No. This is an internal problem. And this is a huge problem. You're not going to take a little vinegar, a little massage, and straighten this stuff out. Far be it. Oh, this is a serious issue, a very serious issue. And it's systemic acidosis. I mean systemic. So you want to address it. You want to address the cause. Go to the kidneys and adrenals. Check your urine. Pee in a jar. See if you're filtering. Good gnawing on that lymphatic system. Clean up your bowels. This is upper head. Clean up your bowels. Upper circuit, brain and nerve, particularly upper circulation. And just set in, and it'll start. You'll start. As you move, get your sinuses cleaned out. Get everything on the run. You'll start seeing little sprouts. I used to bet and make money that way. I had a guy once, and he was working for us, had a bowling ball. He was in his 50s, and he had a bowling ball since he was in his 20s. You know, bald. So he bet me $1,000 he couldn't put hair on there, and I said, I'll bet you $1,000 I can. So I got $1,000 richer, and hair growing all over the place. But this is true. I mean, it's not just saying it, it's happening all over. Matter of fact, there's YouTubers that have done that. Some of you females have done that. Help this lad to understand that. Green eyes that are actually blue. Now, Chris, he did pick this one up for me. You see all that orange in there? See that yellow in there? When you get that yellow-orange in there, that can make it look green, but this doesn't even look green. These are blue. But I don't know if this yellow is sulfur. You might in the right eye up there. You might have a little sulfur up in the upper femur. But this yellow is more a subacute stage of lymph congestion. The first stage is acute. That generally turns your eye white. Yellowing of the eye, if it's not sulfur, is the subacute stages. Now, in those stages, when you detox, you'll get yellow mucus out. Now, when you start to see the browns creeping in, because that's the next stage, then that's chronic. And of course, in the chronic stages, it's going to turn the eye more brown in those areas. So you effectively have a brown eye with, or a blue eye with brown in it. And it'll start being called hazel. But take a look right around the pupil. Do you see this real thick area here? That real thick yellow? That's malabsorption. That thickness is in this, follows exactly your bowel wall. So when you see it go up, your bowels are ballooned. When you see it prolapse down, you'll see like a prolapse is like a swing. If you see a spike like a V, that's spastic. But this thickness here, now you notice all this yellow, little yellow dots? These are your lymph nodes. And you've got, all your lymph nodes are swollen. So, and they've been that way for years and years and years. So you're going to have trouble to hydrate and break these lymph nodes. Look, this is called the lymphatic rosary. It goes all the way around the eye. You're malabsorbed here with this thick lymph in the gut wall here. And so you're going to see a lot of mucus in your stools. You see that little prolapsing here. This is the left, so this is right under the left breast area, chest area of the transverse bowel. But you got good genes here. That's pretty good. You got a left, a kidney, and adrenal. They're about in a subacute stage of weakness. You got a little knee there, something going on there. The stomach could be bad. If you'll notice this, you'll see that brown ring. I don't know if you guys can see it. Now, this left looks like it has a cataract on it. It's hazy, but there's a lot of light there. But see if you can see this brown ring right immediately around the pupil. This haze in the pupil is potentially a cataract, which is cholesterol plaque. You see this darker ring around the outside of the eye? That's a skin ring. That's a weakness within the skin. Now, the skin is an organ, just like your kidneys. It is your third kidney. Even though it's called the integumentary system, it's still, in a system of its own, it is tied to the lymph system. And when you say lymph system, I include the skin and kidneys and adrenal glands with that system. You could add the thyroid a little bit because of the control of body temperature. Now, your right side looks like you're having more lymphatic problems than the left. And just a quick look at this. The right kidney, though, is a lot better than the left kidney, but it's a lot of lymph. Your groin on the left side is herniation waiting to happen. Excuse me. And I would say here's a liver gallbladder or a right arm, and just a quick look. See, here's a pituitary that's down here, and possibly a pineal gland. That would affect your insomnia. Now, down in the cecum area, I don't know if you've had your appendix removed, but you're weak where the appendix is. There's a drug deposit there where the appendix was or is, and that whole weakness going down the groin area, and your bowels look like they've been removed or they're very prolapsed. So you got some problems down in that cecum. That's the bottom of the colon on the right side, below the ileocecal valve where the small bowel comes in. Or right in there, you're having some problems. That also might be picking up your pancreas and right testicle. A little lower back going on here, maybe a tad bit of mid back. Your tonsils full. A little thyroid, a little bit genetically, parathyroid, but I can't see it well. A little bit, not bad. You got good genes here. This is an easy case to fix up, but lots of lymph, lots of malabsorption, a little bit of stomach burn going on there too. What do you have to say? I've always thought I had green eyes, but it turns out I don't. Nope, they're blue. How can I get rid of the yellow in my eyes? Only one word will take care of that one. I could use two, but that is called hydration and detoxification. I have just started cutting meat and dairy about 4 days ago. That is number one. That's how you get swollen lymph nodes and all this mucus in there is dairy products and meat. Good job. Here are my eyes. I am 18-year-old female. I have never tried taking pictures like this of my eyes and was very surprised. Right, then left. Yeah, isn't that fun? And you did it. And look, you got nice eyelashes. But yeah, I mean, you got good genes, honey. You got some things going on up here. So do upper circumbrachus nerve. You're young. You really need to get in there. Get the sinuses drained out of here. A couple spots up in the head, up in this animation lifeline you want to fix. That's your energy coming into the head. Your pineal might be down a little bit, so that could make you a little not sleep as good as you could, or but you know, a few little things like that. Your pituitary's down a little bit. That could affect your monthly cycles. It can make you start way early in life, like 10 instead of 14, or way late. It could cause irregular menses, heavy bleeding. So you got that potential there. But, you know, you'll be able to take care of that. I have to go. I have to go. And yet I have so many questions here. My God. Oh, my God. Ugh. Crap. God, dang it. Lung cancer and interferon. I thought I just answered this one, or someone had asked me about this. I never knew they used interferon in lung cancer. Interferon is used in the liver. But when medical doctors use interferon, it's a nightmare from hell. And it's not a fun experience, and you keep getting sicker and sicker. And this is from George. And I think, George, I think I addressed this yesterday in a video. So let me go. My name is George from Scotland. I have been following your work for nearly 3 years and watched every one of your videos. Believe it or not, yeah, I read this yesterday. He's been on some fruit and veggie eating, one of 3 days fast. Anyway, this is not about me. It's about my father, Robert. Yep, 74. I gave this one yesterday, so I won't have to go over it again. I gave this yesterday. It's lung cancer and the like. Oh, good. God, there's so many. There's so many. If I can't get to you with these videos, please call in and have one of the staff help you or give you some answers. And we're going to increase that because there's a lot of you guys there going to start helping us to do this. We got the Costa Rican project, and so we've got a lot of you going to help us to help you guys, because there's so many of you that are hurting so bad that we need to fix you guys up and get you on the road to being healers yourselves. And it's just so much suffering. But I want you to know, when you're suffering, it's always, or at least 99.9999999% under the acid sky. That means you've been eating too acidically and eating acid-forming foods, which is dairy products, proteins, grains, beans, a lot of cooked foods, all are acid-forming. So when you eat all these acid-forming foods, they over-acidify the body. Well, initially, you don't get much of a feeling. You don't really know what's going on there. The kidneys slowly lose their ability to filter. The bowels start to lose their integrity. You start to get plaque on the wall. You start to lose absorption. You start to lose digestion, but slowly. And this has happened through generations. Of course, now that we're using toxic chemicals, everything's exploded. Since we decided to treat with pharmaceuticals, everything has went to hellville. This isn't a victory song. Pharmaceuticals isn't a victory song that you can have a parade and say, thank you, pharmaceutical world. Not on your life. Now, with that said, yes, there are pharmaceuticals that are essential, but those should be restricted and governed. You're talking about potential fatal events, and isn't so the potential, it's percentages. And when you're talking about things like an anti-inflammatory or a steroid type like Imbro, where you have millions, you've convinced millions of people to be on it, even though you tell them it has fatal events, and you have a 5% fatal event record, 5% of 100 million people is how many people die from it, just from that one. Even if it was 3%, what's 3% of 100 million? That's how many people are dying from that. You can take 1 billion people on our herbal programs and none die from that. So we have a lot to look at. And we have a lot to readjust and rethink. But that's why we're going through this. So the human race can learn by what's going on, their actions, and change their actions to uplift themselves. And that's what this is going on. That's why we're all, the spiritual beings are here to help. It's an upliftment and an awakening that you have to do. This is an awakening that each and every one of us on our own must do on our own. We can only have help. We can only have someone that's walked the walk and given us that little nudge or that little friendly advice, what to do and what not to do. No spiritual master will walk your journey for you, not a true one. So it's a great journey. It's a tough journey, and you can win if you just keep it simple, learn to control your mind, and you can only do that when you learn how to stop thinking and replace that with observation. Thought and observation are two different factors. Thought is of the mind, observation is from consciousness, from you as soul, if you want to use it that way, easy way to describe it. That's the God side. And I think our video just did it. So I love you all. May the blessings be. You have fun on your journey to Wellville. And if this isn't answering your questions, please come and talk to us. Call us or whatever so we can help you. But I think you're going to like our future. Love you all. Bye-bye.